I think we are live. What's going on, everybody? I don't know how many people are in here or if there even is anybody in here, but I'm going to go ahead and just get started with this. Okay, there's nobody in here. All right. So, yeah, because of the fact that there's nobody in here just yet, we'll just get started for anybody who's watching this after the fact. So, I'm joined by my buddy Rashad G Reviews. What's going on, man? How's everything going?
Perez, what's the deal? Pickles is everything kosher, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I'm ready to have some fun with this.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, thank you for being a part of this, man. We collab all the time, more so than anybody else that I have here on the channel. So I figured I got to have you on as one of the first guests, and it turned out that you'd be my first guest. So yeah, my intention with this series, Random Rambling, maybe there's already a podcast or some sort of discussion-based series that's already, titled that. But the intention is to have different people that I've had already on my channel come onto the channel, people maybe who haven't already been on the channel, friends, family, whatever, and just kind of use it as an ability to try to get to know the other person, let the audience get to know the other person, just talk some crap for a little bit, just kind of sit back and just have a good time. And so, yeah, my first guest here, Rashad, how's it going, man? Thank you again for being on the video. And my first question to you would be, what got you into YouTube, man? I met you on YouTube about a year and some change ago now, I think, closer to 2 years. And I remember I used to see you commenting on Q Reviews videos all the time. I was like, who is this Rashad guy? So I eventually saw you on Facebook as well, because we have Q Reviews on Facebook. And then I just decided to check out some of your content. And I think the first things that really gripped me were your videos with your cousin China, which I thought were hilarious, man. So what got you into YouTube, man? What made you want to start up doing YouTube?
Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman. All right, I've been a movie fan since I can remember. My first ever memory was going to see Return of the Jedi at 3 years old. I actually remember going to see that. I've just been hooked on movies ever since. I always talk movies. I've been a nerd for I don't know how long. And it's just hard to be in contact with people that are just as nerdy as me, that want to talk movies as much as me. According to my family, I'm what's considered lame. Okay, so here it is. I find YouTube, and there's people like myself that love talking movies, that love talking pop culture. And the first people I saw was Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, and the Schmoes, Collider. So I always wanted to get into the conversation, but I just never had the balls to do it. I procrastinated. I said, okay, maybe I'll do it, next week, next month, next year. Took me about 5 years. And one night I was drinking some tequila, and I just said, can I curse?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay, I just said, fuck it. After a few shots, I set up the laptop, the camera, and I said, hey, welcome to Rashad G. We're here to talk movies. And it's just been on ever since.
Hey, man, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I was similar, man. It took me a while. It was just watching all these people on YouTube that inspired me and then not doing anything about it. But similar to you, man, I found myself in a predicament where I was just constantly talking to different people about movies, coworkers, and things like that. And you could just tell that they just didn't care, man. They weren't there to really invest in the conversation. So you'd start talking to them about things, and they just want to know if it was good or if it was bad, and they're just going to tell you if it was good or if it was bad. And sometimes certain people would give you a little bit more, but so many times you would talk to people and then they just kind of, they really wouldn't have much to say. And if you ever got if they, let's say they hated something that you loved, or they loved something that you didn't like so much, if you ever tried to you in conversation and you ever came off a little bit passionate, the instant response is defensive, which just annoys me so much, because it's you can be passionate without being defensive. So it kind of drew me away from wanting to talk to a lot of people. And there's times where I've realized where I start to talk a little bit too much again to people, and I'm I could just tell that their responsiveness is not all there. So then I'm all right, let me just take it back. So then, yeah, similar to you, Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, probably, without a doubt, the two biggest single individuals who review movies on YouTube, and they inspired me beyond belief. But at the same time, I just didn't have I feel like I didn't have the ability to articulate my thoughts in the same way that they did. But I had those same kind of thoughts in my head. I just didn't know how to word them the way that they did. And so, yeah, that was something for me that was inspiring. And then I started finding other people the Angry Video Game Nerd. I don't know if you've ever watched the videos, Massacre, which then that guy, James Rolfe, started reviewing a lot of old timey films, a lot of black and white films. That was kind of what got me into a lot of old school movies. Was watching his reviews for it. And then my grandpa as well. And then, Hello Greedo is one of the more recent ones that I really got into. It's a Star Wars YouTuber, and I just like his. I don't always agree with him, but I like his approach to things. And he has a very level head about how he approaches things. And then probably my favorite movie reviewer who really helped me push over the edge, which was Dan Murrow. He was on Screen Junkies for a while, but he just recently started his own channel. And yeah, it's just these people who were just so good at articulating their thoughts on movies and going beyond something just being good and bad. That really caught my attention. So yeah, man, that's how it started for me. I see we got a couple comments here. One from my mom. Hey mom, how's it going?
Hey, Mom.
And then we got Riley Vision 26. Yo, what's going on? Hey, how are you?
All right.
And then my mom said, I accidentally saw that you were going live. Glad I was able to catch this one. Need more notice. Yeah, I'm going to try to make this a more consistent thing, letting people know ahead of time. Kind of just did this one last minute and meant to do it earlier, but then I ended up taking like a 5-hour nap that was unattended, but I'll take it. All right, cool. So I guess like you said that you got into YouTube the way you did, but what keeps you driven now, man? Because we've talked, we've been able to build a pretty solid friendship, and I've let you know, man, like this thing can be so discouraging sometimes, like doing YouTube. Like one video will do super well. Like for me recently, a little over a week ago, I did a review for a horror movie called The Empty Man that just came out in theaters and nobody's talking about it. I was actually the second review up on YouTube for it, and because of that, I benefited from it, and it's over 1,000 views now. But then every video since has been 30 to 50 views. And you have over 1,000 subscribers now, so I've seen on your channel that you'll have these videos that just skyrocket thousands of views, and then the next one will be like under 50 views, if that. So what keeps you driven, like, to keep going on?
I just love talking movies, but I love talking shows. It's the love of it. You know what I mean? Like if this was something that I depended on to make a living, I probably would have lost my mind a long time ago. Because it can be frustrating, and you try to figure out, okay, what works and what doesn't work. So, like you say, if you pick a movie to review that not a lot of people are talking about, you'll get a lot more views on that. Like, for example, I Got the Hookup too, that Master P movie.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that god awful Master P movie, and there wasn't a lot of reviews on it. So when I did my review, it went to like 22,000 views, and I'm like, Jesus. So I try to keep that going, and then like 3 videos later, like you said, like 50 views. I said, well, damn, like I had the same flow, I had the same energy in both videos, but one does good, the other one doesn't. So it's tricky, man. It's tricky learning this algorithm, but yeah, it's just the love and the passion of watching something, and you want to talk about it. And I don't have many friends around here, so you guys are like my friends because nobody else will talk to me about it. So that's just what it is, man. You just have to love doing it.
Yeah, no, for sure. No,
it's very easy to quit. There's been times where I'm like, you know what? Nobody cares what I have to say, especially Star Wars. Like if you go through any of my Star Wars videos, those are my worst videos as far as views. But I love Star Wars. I love talking about it, but nobody cares.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, man. It's like it's super hit or miss. There are times where, like I said, that you have a video like The Empty Man, or even like what I try to keep in my mind is recognize that sometimes there are certain videos that you'll post and their longevity is really what helps them. Like it's like the video being on YouTube, it's after time that like you find yourself, starting to see views on it. My most viewed video, and I think I've talked to you about it before, is The Passion of the Christ, the Mel Gibson film. And when I first uploaded it, it was still early on in my like YouTube career but my my YouTube time, and I still had a lot of support from a lot of friends and family who hadn't fizzled out already from that like early like hype, and so I think I got like a 90 something views. This was like a few months into me doing it, and I was happy with that. I was like, cool, 90 something views, moving on. And then Easter came around that year, and then Christmas came around, and it just skyrocketed. And there's other reviews for The Passion of the Christ. I don't really have an explanation for it, but yeah, my video is over 40,000 views now for The Passion of the Christ, and I just don't know how that really happened. Like it's just the algorithm. Like there are certain videos that I've done. There are videos that I've done that are still sitting at like 20 views, man, and it's so discouraging when you've done videos that like will easily at least break 100, and you post these videos that like are struggling to get past 15, 20 views, and you're just like, wow, man, just talk about it like completely sending a video out and it just face plants 100%, like absolutely, like just no growth from those videos. So yeah, man, it can be definitely really tough, and like you said, it's easy to quit. I found myself on a bunch of occasions just thinking to myself like, man, I was just talking to my girlfriend about it not too long ago. I was like super, super discouraged about everything going on. Let's look at some of these comments we got here. We got our prodigist AT saying, "Oh, nice. What's up, Anthony Rashad? How's it going?" My mom says that I didn't have I didn't take a nap. I took a full sleep. And then he said, "I was inspired to review movies and play games and other stuff from YouTubers like John Flickinger, Chris Duckman, Jeremy John, Blitzinger, Blitzinger, and what is that? K Wings Let's Play." I don't know about those last two, but yeah, John Flickinger is another one for me, man, because he was always on Rashad G's videos, and I was super inspired by him. I even used to send him stuff for his fan mail videos, and there's a few fan mail videos long before I started my YouTube channel that where he gives me a shout out, because I worked at a movie theater at the time, and I would send him like these badass posters. Like I'd get like the XD poster for like Deadpool, and I'd send it to him, and just to see his reaction. And that was really cool. I wish I had a channel at the time, because he gave me a shout out, and I mentioned in those videos, like in the notes, I'd be like, I want to start a YouTube channel, but then I hadn't had one, so he couldn't support it. We also got a comment here from our boy Q Reviews. What's going on, Q?
I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, you're good, bro. Come on, this is both of our videos right here. Nice video here. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Q. Thank you for stopping by, man.
Man.
Yeah, man. No, it's crazy. YouTube is this wild thing. I have a couple questions, like I mentioned to you before, from some viewers that we can get into. Let's see. I guess another question to you is like, beyond what just like keeps you driven, like what is something that you'd like to see yourself be able to do with your channel over time? Like if there was like a goal that like you think to yourself, like the next step, like for me, doing stuff like this was like part of my next goal, being able to have other people on the channel, be able to talk, have these like podcast type conversations. Like what is something that you would like to be able to do new with your channel beyond, all the stuff that you do? Because your channel's a lot more diverse than I think you give it credit sometimes, because you're not only the movie review guy, Rashad, but you also get on, topics of, Black culture and, the racism and political stuff, movies and TV and all that jazz as well. And then you have, your kind of different take on movie videos with doing the whole, like dinner and a movie thing. So like, what's something that you would like to see yourself be able to do on the channel that you haven't already done?
Honestly, I'm really not sure. I just wanted to evolve naturally like it did. Like I never planned on doing dinner and the movies. Just sometimes I just sit around and ideas just come to me. Eventually I do want to kind of get into the podcasting thing, which I'm a little intimidated by because I really don't know much about it. Kind of like how I was with YouTube, and eventually I just faced my fear and jumped in. So I know eventually I'll get more into the podcast thing, and probably get a little studio or whatnot. Have, like you said, have guests on there and everything. And but yeah, as of right now, I really don't have a long-term plan or goal for the channel. I just think of shit to talk about. I get in front of the camera and talk about it and put it out there, and see if people care what the hell what I have to say. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And hey, man, it's working, dude. You're over 1,000 subscribers. I'm trying to catch up. I remember there was a little period of time where like you were already ahead of Q Reviews and I, but like I was like trying to like catch up to the two of you guys, and now like I'm in between the two of you guys, and it's been really great to see the three of our channels growing. But your channel has just been booming, bro. Like, and I think a lot of it has to do with some of those videos that you'll do. Like you were very. There's times where like I've wanted to make videos that touch a little bit more on some of the craziness happening in this country, but then I'm like let me not upset my fans who are here for the Halloween Town reviews. I'm just like let me just stay back. Maybe it's not my place to say something, but what I love about your channel is that you're just 100% real, and whether you get criticism or not, you don't let that like kind of like waver the way that you choose to post your content, which. I think for the best is I think it's for the best. At the end of the day, it goes to show why your channel's consistently been growing.
Oh yeah, listen, you'd be surprised. I had to delete a few things because I had some people say some really nasty things about me and my mother, and some real hateful stuff. Some of it's actually funny. You know, probably the funniest one I heard. Somebody called me Suge Knight Whopper Jr. And I thought that was pretty. I said I had to comment. I said, you know what? That's a good one. That was a good one. I just
Yeah,
speak from the heart, man. I've always been that way. Anybody that knows me knows that I just speak from the heart. I wear my heart on my sleeves. You know what I mean? So even if I were to try to fake it, I can't. You know, I mean, if I'm feeling something when I'm in front of the camera, that's what you get. You know, so I can't be pissed off inside and be like, so hey guys, today I'm gonna be talking about, you know, nah, like if I'm mad, I'm gonna show you that I'm mad. If I'm happy, I'm gonna
yeah.
show you that I'm happy. You know, that's just me, man. I'm a very transparent person. You know, and like you said, I guess it's been working because some people like it and some people don't like it, and they tell me they don't like it.
No,
So
yeah, but I think that that's awesome, man. Because I've definitely got my people who roast me in the past on YouTube, but it's usually fairly tame. You know what I mean? Like if they roast me, and sometimes you can tell when they're just trolls. I remember one time it was this guy that clearly had a fake profile picture, and he just commented on one of my videos like, "I just came to this video to tell you it sucks and dislike it," but I've never seen that guy comment before, and it was like some random movie. So it was clear that it was like a troll, you know. Um,
yeah.
And then, I remember, man, I can't remember what this guy's name is now that I think about it. But I had a comment on my Passion of the Christ review with somebody like, God, now I can't remember. What was it called? What's the name of that guy, man? I hate it. It was the guy who was like, if I'm not mistaken, damn, I'm not going to be able to remember his name properly. Um, but I remember recently I had a comment on a Skype kind of conversation that I had done, a review for the movie Heavyweights, a Disney movie from the 90s starring Ben Stiller. And I did it with my boy Trav Tries, and we did it over Skype. I just recorded it, I edited in a few things, and I uploaded it. And it was a little glitchy at times, a little laggy at times. It wasn't perfect. But I had somebody comment on there saying just like, oh, you guys, I looked up a movie review, not a Skype conversation. And so I responded to him like really politely. I'm like, well, I get it. It is a Skype conversation, but it is, it is still a movie review. We're still reviewing the movie. And he's like, he followed that up with saying like, I really like your guys' intros though. Like who did your intros? I want to support them. They seems like they put a lot into it. So my initial response or my initial like thought process was, oh, I even said it to him. I go, to be honest, I thought you were kind of being a what's it called? I thought you were just being a troll. So I was like, yeah, like here's the information for all the people who did our intro. Like, check them out. They definitely put a lot of hard work into it. And then he follows that up by saying, get it? Because there's no production value and no time spent to make this any like to make it good. Like he was making a jab at like saying that our intros were great, but that our videos were terrible. And I was just like, God, man, some people just really just want to be assholes on YouTube. And I can only imagine with the stuff that you've touched on that it's pretty gnarly sometimes.
Gotta have some thick skin. Gotta have thick skin because they will talk about you. They will crucify you. And man, I've heard some of the worst of the worst. And I mean, you gotta have thick skin. You have to have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, you don't know these people. There's somebody behind the keyboard. For all you know, I mean, you don't know what their circumstances are. Hopefully, nothing bad, but I don't know them. So I take it. I laugh at it. I mean, if you show me love, I'm be like, thank you for the love. If you curse me out and call me whatever, I'm like, all right, cool. Thanks for stopping by and watching.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, at least you came through. Love me or hate me, at least you watch me. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, it's true. I remember, I just remembered the name now. I was on the Passion of the Christ review. This guy comments on my video, and he's like, why is George Zimmerman reviewing movies? And I couldn't help but laugh. You know what I mean? Like that. I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, it's a terrible person to be, to have somebody say that you look like them, but I couldn't help but laugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see a resemblance, but nah. I'll give you more credit than that, man. You're a much better looking guy than George Zimmerman.
I'd hope so, bro. He's got a big ass round head. Well, let's look at some of these comments we got here. Prodigy just says that John was his first reviewer that he ever watched. He's been watching stuff since 2013. Yeah, same for me, man. I love the flick pick. I always loved his channel. His channel isn't the same for me today. I still enjoy it. I still watch it, but he just doesn't post as much as he used to, and I'm sure he knows that too. But I still have a lot of love for him. He's definitely a huge inspiration. Prodigy says, "How are you guys doing this anyway?" We're using StreamYard, as you can see in the corner or over there. It says powered by StreamYard, and yeah, it's just a pretty easy to use website if you're interested in doing stuff like this. Q Reviews coming in with telling us that dinner in the movie is fire, because it sure is. Honestly, dude, for real, one of my favorite parts of your channel, man. Dinner, and because I always, my watch later is like 500-600 videos, so it takes me forever to catch up. That's why I always watch everything in order. I'll get to your video eventually, but I take forever. But whenever I see it, the next one is dinner in a movie. Right now, the next video that I have to watch, actually, funny enough, on my YouTube is one of your videos. I have it open right here. It's one of the videos you did with Cousin China not too long ago. Let me see what it's the "I'm done. I mean, I'm really done" that you did with Cousin China. So I'm gonna be watching that one soon. But yeah, man, dinner in the movie, bro. Love those. It's very unique kind of take on being able to do food and do movie reviews.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Shout out to Q Reviews too, man.
Honestly, man.
Yeah, if anybody's watching this, man, check out Q Reviews. He's one of us. He talks movies. Very funny guy, man. Check him out. Q Reviews. Get him to 1,000 subscribers. For sure. Yeah.
He's Q Reviews. I remember he was probably like the second or third friend that I made on YouTube, and obviously it's gone on to become a great friendship, man. It incredibly, he inspired me, and so much of what I've done on my channel is because of what I watched Q Reviews do, because I just noticed these little things, and he I think just put up a video recently of stuff that scared the shit out of him. I think he put it up yesterday for Halloween, movie stuff. I haven't watched the video yet, but I can already tell from the thumbnail that I'm in for a laugh, for a good time. If you guys are not watching Q Reviews, give him some love. He's going to be a guest here on this show soon enough, for sure. And thank you, bro. I know I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers. I definitely appreciate that. Let's see. He also said, making videos is one of the best things for me to do. 30 views or 30,000. I should put out more videos though. Yeah, man. I know you're crazy busy with work, man. But anytime you put up a video, I'm always happy to watch it, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, he has a good editing style. I like when the way he edits videos together. He's using the green screen now. Yeah, that last video he did about the things that scared him. I'm watching it. I said, you know what? Q ain't shit, because he knows that image of The Exorcist freaks me out, and he put it in the thumbnail and puts it in the video, and I know he did it just to mess with me, man. So Q, you ain't shit for that. I just want to tell you.
Let's see what he responds to that. Prodigy says, it's always great to be real, especially when we all should be real in the world and be ourselves, and that's very rare, but much respect to Rashad. Yeah, man, that's what I love about Rashad. He's real 100%. That's why I give you the movies that I do to review, bro, because partially, I've given you movies like Hacksaw Ridge and Sicario, because I'm like, all right, let me give him some prestige films that I feel are something that I think he's really going to like. But when I give you these, Halloween Towns, I do it because I know you're not going to sit here and be like, well, Anthony, these are movies Anthony watched when he was 8 years old. Let me be nice about it. It's like, no, I'm going to give him my full, genuine thoughts. And I appreciate that about you.
Well, let me ask you, what movie did you give me and that you thought that I was really going to like, and I shit on it, and you were like, wow, I didn't think you were going to, I thought you would like it more than that.
Without a doubt, it was Holes, man. Holes starring Shia LaBeouf. That one was a shocker for me, because I genuinely loved that movie. That's one that for me, it's cheesy, it's got the corniness to it, but that was one that I really thought you would maybe enjoy. There's some that I've sent you maybe he'll like it, but maybe it's gonna be a hit or miss kind of thing, But yeah, that was one for me that I low key expected you to enjoy, and when not only did you not like it, you really didn't like it. So and I remember in the video you were like, "Don't send me shit like this anymore, bro." And I was just sitting there on the other side like, no, because the funniest part is that I was watching it with my girl on Disney Plus, because we hadn't seen it in a little bit, but we both remember the movie so well. I remember going to see that movie in theaters and everything, and she loved that movie too. And so we were watching it, and I was trying to decide on what I was going to give you next, and she was like, "Oh, you should give Rashad Holes." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give Rashad Holes." And then then you sent me the video, and I watched it together with my girl, and she was like, "No, he's crazy." And I was like, I just told her, I can't believe you didn't like Holes. But I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, it happens, especially what was it? You gave me Crush Groove, and I just did not feel Crush Groove.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Crush Groove really didn't surprise me, because, like you said, it was a product of its time. It's more nostalgic than anything. So I'm pretty sure if I flip-flop and I was, your age, and really wasn't into hip hop, and I watched it, I'm like, what is this shit? So I get it. But the one that surprised me with you was Boomerang. Because Boomerang is one of my favorite Eddie Murphy movies, man. And when you say you didn't too much care for it, I was like, oh, that's a classic. Yeah, so that one shocked me.
Yeah, I will say this. I like Boomerang. And you know what's funny? I like Boomerang, but I just wasn't crazy about it. And what movie did I just recently see that I was able to like, and I didn't make reference to it. Man, I meant to make a reference to it. I recently saw a movie where the characters in the movie were watching Boomerang, and it was the scene where Eddie Murphy like is in bed and he sits up with the blanket like on his chest, and so I laughed to myself because I was like, oh, now I like, you know, I can understand that reference of that clip. But yeah, man, you know, I think Eddie Murphy made the movie entertaining for me. It was some of the other elements as far as like the characters and like the romance, the back and forth, that I was just like, I don't know what to attach myself to.
Well, you did bring up a good point in your review when you said that that even though Eddie is the protagonist, but he was kind of hard to root for because he's supposed to have an arc, but that arc really doesn't come into the end. And then after all the bad stuff he did, it just took a simple, okay, I'm sorry, and then everything's back to, you know, being normal again. So yeah, I totally understood what you were saying there. And when I think about it, you are right. But I don't care. I still love the movie anyway.
No, man, for sure, dude. I just gave you Halloween Town, bro. And even with those movies, they're like nostalgic, fun watches for me. But I was watching these movies, I was watching them laughing. Like I had to pause a bunch of times because I would tell Haley, I was like, I'm picturing Rashad just sitting there with a bottle of tequila, watching this scene specifically. Like when a specific scene that would come up, like there's scenes in the movie that I think work, and then I was like, man, like for instance, I really like Benny. You said you liked him too, like the taxi driver from Halloween Town. I like him because he was like kind of like silly, a little goofy, and the animatronic on him kind of like harkens back to like old school like movies. So I like those sequences. But then there's some scenes that I'm just like, I don't know, like in the latest one, we haven't done the review for it yet, or at least I haven't put it up yet. But for Return of Halloween Town, there's a scene where the recasted Marnie is like riding on the broom with the guy on the back, and there's like some sort of like pop music playing. It's this bad CG like castle that she's flying over. And as I was watching it, I'm just busting out laughing, just thinking about you sitting there watching this and like thinking, bro, what is Anthony got me watching, bro?
Yeah. Well, you're right. I was looking. I'm watching it on my phone. So I'm watching it on my phone, and about every 15, 20 minutes, I'm doing one of these numbers here. And then I wake up. I gotta rewind it. It took me 2 days to watch it. 2 days.
That was too funny, bro. My mom says, what were you gonna say? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I just said no. It wasn't easy to get through.
Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. I haven't done my review for that one yet, but like I told you before, that was my first time watching it because I didn't want to watch it because they recast Marnie, and yeah, I was not feeling this one, bro. So this is gonna be the first, I think, Halloween Town that I won't have positive things to say. My mom says that she's mad that I didn't see the Hell Night yet. She recommended I did it for October. Didn't do it, but in that over movie night, I'll come over soon, Mom, and we'll watch it. Have you seen Hell Night? Is it any good?
Have I seen it? No. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what Hell Night is. I don't think I've ever even seen a poster for it, but I'll definitely check it out at some point. Got a Q review saying, a black man said, I know nothing about struggle. Oh, because you have the Green Book, because you gave Green Book a good review. What? What kind of criticism?
Yeah,
people, bro.
Well, I'm not going to say that. Blackness that I know nothing about. Yeah, you'd be surprised some of these comments. Yeah, somebody called me a crab in a barrel. Well, okay, when I talked about the Master P movie, I was a sellout, I was a coon, I was a self-hating black dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm just all these things. And then when I put out a video calling out, our president and stuff like that, you're a racist. You know, you just hate white people. I'm like, you know what? I guess I just don't know who I am. It's a no-win situation. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Everybody's got an opinion, even when you think that, okay, if I put something out there, people should gravitate towards it, and some of them do. But no matter what, even with movie reviews, no matter what, somebody's going to talk shit. It's the nature of the beast, man.
Yeah, no, it's so true, man. It's so true. And it's like an instant, like, no matter how well you explain yourself, it's like an instant, like, oh, you just don't understand kind of thing. Like, then that obviously goes into what Q just said about somebody saying like you don't know the struggle. It's like just because I like something or dislike something doesn't mean
Right.
that it's a funny thing. Like everything is got very black and white with people today. We see it in the movies, we see it in music. One thing I've had to learn is kind of staying out of comment sections on Facebooks, particularly, bro, because you'll just get lost in it and you want to respond to every single idiot. And I'm like, why do I care so much what freaking Susan Jim Bob from Oklahoma says? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just people are crazy. My mom says she agrees with you about that. She hates The Exorcist. I know that movie's always freaked her out. And then Q Reviews followed up his comment with saying that was indeed for you.
Yeah, that image is like it's in my head now. Like so, for the past few nights, I'm like seeing that and hard to go to sleep. Thanks, Q.
Prodigy says Holes is like Prestige in terms of Disney Channel movies. I would, I mean, I think it's definitely a great Disney movie. It's not. It's actually not a Disney Channel movie. It actually released in theaters. I remember going to see that movie. I was a kid, and my sister, my dad, and I were staying at some hotel by the Miami Beach, and we had been at the beach all day, and then we went to see the movie. I don't remember everything that happened that day. All I know is that I spent like a good chunk of time in the day buying beach stuff at Walgreens down in Miami Beach. For some reason, that's like one random memory that sticks with me. My mom says she loves Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, I love Shia LaBeouf too.
Oh yeah, I got no problem with Shia LaBeouf. Wait, what is that the one Halle Berry as well? I love that movie. I will not have forgiven him. Oh, you'd be surprised. All right, cousin China and I did a few videos about this. How dudes can do some of the most wicked things, and women will still forgive them. That love is something else.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I think we can all say that we've witnessed it. Like, especially now in the days of social media, how many times have we all seen somebody that we know, love, or just a friend post some bullshit about a relationship or their issues or things collapsing, and the next day they're posting about that same person that ruined their lives being like the centerpiece to their life, the love of their life. Like they can never, whatever, you know what I mean? Like they just fall right back into the trap.
Oh yeah, listen, I've seen plenty of times, and cousins of mine also, they'll put a post up talking about I'm just gonna focus on me and my kids, and I ain't got time for no fuck boy or whatever. And the very next day, her picture, her and the dude together, me and Bae against the world. They hate us, baby. They can't do nothing with us. I'm like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, dude. All the time, man. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that, man. It's crazy. Especially like, I'm sure I was gonna say, especially when you're young, but even then, it's like because like when I was a teenager and the internet was just becoming a thing. It's just like now you see these teenagers online posting all this dramatic stuff. And maybe you see it at all ages, man. When I was younger, dude, I just used to see these people that would like break up and they'd be with, like, they'd talk about how their whole life was ruined, and the next week they're either with somebody else, and then they break up with that person a week later, and they'd be with somebody else, and it's just like, bro, like at some point, you just look like a clown.
I had to grow up too. I'm gonna put myself out there. I had to grow up too. When I first started doing the Facebook thing years ago, I would get drunk and I would be in my feelings, and I'd just be posting random stuff on Facebook like, yeah, man, I don't care. I just, one day I'm gonna get a girl that appreciates me. And then the next day, wake up hungover and instantly regretting what I did. And then after that post, I would put like 5 different music video posts from like YouTube, songs that you listen to. I don't do that anymore. It's been years since I did that, but I had to grow up. I used to do that stuff too.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, bro. It's the internet could be a funny thing, and like relationships, especially. I feel like the internet has changed. Like I feel like everybody has this perspective that their relationship, or like even somebody that they're just seeing, or like where they are in their relationship needs to be public. Like everybody has to have a little taste just to know that their relationship's doing good, and when in the reality of the situation is nobody gives a shit.
Well, okay, can I tell you a funny story real quick?
Go for it.
Yeah, this was years ago. So there was this female that I was talking to, and you put on Facebook relationship status in a relationship. I think I have the record for the shortest relationship status on Facebook. So me and this chick been talking for a while, and we just had a very good day. Everything was going good. and I was on my drink once again. I'm not a bad alcoholic, y'all. So, and I changed my status to I changed my status to in a relationship. And people were commenting, "Oh, Rashad, congratulations! Oh man, that's good, man. You a good dude. You deserve it." I'm feeling myself. The girl calls me. She says, what are you doing? I said, I changed the relationship status to in a relationship because listen, you can put that, but don't tag me in it. I don't need people in my business. Do you have something to hide? No, I don't have anything to hide, but don't put me out there. Untag me in it. Okay, no, we're not doing that. So I changed it. I said, Rashad is now single. This happened within 5 minutes. And then people commenting, "Oh, bro, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Oh, Rashad, don't worry about it, man. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Dude, forget her, man. You know, you a good dude." First they celebrated me, now they have a sympathy for me.
Oh, dude.
That was a bad night.
Hell yeah, I can understand, dude. I would feel crunchy as hell. That would be like just low key deactivate the Facebook for like a month and just disappear, let people forget, and come back. Because yeah, that's definitely a rough one, man. Yeah, we got Black Tastic in here. Come saying, "What's up?"
If you're wondering, she actually did have somebody else she was talking to. That's why she didn't want me to put it on there, because she had another dude that she was messing with. Broke my heart. Black Tastic, what up, bro?
No. What's going on, Black Tastic? How's everything, bro? Prodigy says that we should talk about Hell or High Water with Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine. I've actually wanted to do a review for that. I actually have never seen it, but I've heard good things about it. My mom says Hell Night is an older movie with Linda Blair, college hazing. Yeah, I've never heard of it, but I'm definitely going to look into it.
Yeah, never heard of that either.
Malik the King says people are definitely entitled to their opinions. I didn't like the Captain Marvel movie, but I'm not going to knock people that did like the movie. Yeah, man, for sure. Like for me, I like Captain Marvel too, or I liked Captain Marvel. You didn't like it, but I liked it. I wasn't crazy about it. I think it's probably my like lower echelon of like the lower tier Marvel movies. Like anytime I think back on it, I just think that it just didn't stick with me the same way a lot of other ones have. But yeah, man, I'm the same way, man. Like I don't know, I'm at this place. You know what really changed my mind on stuff like this was. What was the movie? The Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And the reason I say that is because I walked out of the theater. I didn't look at any reviews, nothing online. I was there first showing in my area. I was living in Las Vegas at the time. And I sat down for the movie. I was thrilled. The Force Awakens was beautiful for me. I saw The Force Awakens like over 10 times in theaters. I was like so hyped on Star Wars coming back. And I saw the movie and I had my negatives. I had things about it that I didn't like. But I loved it. And I came out. I remember I ranted about it on Snapchat, just like being thrilled about the movie. And then it wasn't until I got home that I opened up Facebook and just see that there is this, full-blown war going on online between fans for months. For months. I mean, it's still going on today in a lot of ways, but for months, almost a year, I want to say, people were just completely shitting on not only The Last Jedi, but Star Wars overall because of that one movie. And I got myself into so many ridiculously like heated arguments online, and I just came to a place where like I just realized, man, I just don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore. Like, and I'm kind of glad that happened because now I'm at a place where like I actually really embraced the different opinions. Not that I didn't embrace the different opinions there, but I was trying to defend the movie to this extent that it doesn't matter. You could change one person's mind or maybe get them to see something that you enjoyed about the movie and get them to stop shitting on it a little bit less. But then here comes this guy and that guy and that guy that just have every other thing to say. Just like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And then with my channel, I think my channel has been a big opener of my eyes to just different opinions because I've had multiple people, some people who are in this live stream right now. We got Blacktastic, got Q Reviews, who I've had on videos where we have completely different opinions on stuff. You know, there's times you've come in and completely shit on movies that I love, or vice versa. I had Blacktastic recently. The last video we did together was The Mummy, the one from the 30s or the 30s, and with Boris Karloff. And rewatching it, I wasn't crazy about it. I still liked things about it, but I wasn't crazy about it. And Blacktastic really liked it. You know what I mean? So I like that because we were, you able to have this difference in opinion, and people who are watching are able to kind of lean one way or the other, and kind of have two different people that they can kind of lean into as far as different opinions. And I've kind of just grown to appreciate the different opinions and as long as it can be done with respect, you know what I mean? Because then it just becomes this thing where people are just just digging into each other for no reason over a franchise about space wizards with laser swords and little robots. Like at a certain point, you just got to realize that's what it is. Even though there's a lot more nuance and story and the feels and all that jazz. But I'm not gonna let somebody tell me how to feel about this franchise about big walking carpets and princesses with hair buns on the side of their heads.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we have to remember: this is all subjective. There's no clear right or wrong in this. This is whether you like the movie, you didn't like the movie. I'm probably one of the few people on this planet that like the movie Norbit, and I will acknowledge that it's not a very good movie, but I love watching Norbit. And I know people will be like, "Are you crazy? That movie sucked," but I love it. It's all subjective. The Last Jedi. I like I call it Last Jedi the Donald Trump of Star Wars because that's the one that divided the fans. That divided the fans, man. Like you, when I first went to go see it, I came home, I reviewed it. Actually, I gave it an A+. I was excited, I was enthusiastic. And the next day, when I saw what other people had to say about it, I felt like, well, damn, was I wrong? Because people were like really shitting on it. And wow. I mean, I'm gonna stick to my guns. Like I'm not gonna lie and say I don't like as much as I did when I first saw it. Like the more I watch The Last Jedi, the more I'm like, okay, it's not as good as I thought it was. But I still enjoy it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna shit on Last Jedi. But I will say the rewatchability for me, not as much as like say Force Awakens,
Yeah, for sure.
But everybody has an opinion though, man. I mean, hell, you could say, you love Halloween Town. I ain't like Halloween Town, but that doesn't make you an asshole. You like what you like.
No, yeah, for sure, man. And I agree, man. It just sometimes and then that's another thing too, that you have this mentality sometimes when you have a thought in a movie and then you see other people's reactions and you're like, damn, was I on the complete opposite side of this? But I've just come to a different mentality where it's just like, you got to talk about what you like. That's why you always kind of joke with me about like the fact that I don't like shit on movies, or like that you always want to see the Perez rant. And I've had a few movies that I've had some negative things to say, but I try to do my best to just really praise what I think worked about the movie and what didn't. Because even my favorite movies, I mean, Star Wars goes beyond a movie for me. The franchise as a whole is kind of like, I don't know. It's just like, it's more than a movie for me. You know what I mean? The franchise, the fandom, like, and I'm not talking about the fandom online. I'm talking about the fandom when you go to like things like Star Wars Celebration, these events where you meet these people who really aren't posting online, people of all ages who are just out there in their geeky outfits and cosplay and just want to celebrate this franchise. That for me is what I love about it. And sometimes you can get into this mentality of like caring what other people think, and it really just doesn't matter, It just really, really doesn't matter. And speaking of which, you got Blacktastic right here saying, gotta have thick skin in this business. It's just so true, man. And I can only imagine, Blacktastic, that you're facing, I'm sure you're facing similar things. You just put out your movie. I haven't looked at the comments of it yet, but I'm sure that there's people who have not loved it and people who have loved it. And you have these two different sides, people who are in the middle, people who criticize maybe things that you really liked about your own project, because that's always the thing. People who maybe missed certain things that you were trying to do. Like, I can only imagine. I would love to make a short film one day. You're an inspiration to us all. So I can only imagine that you probably heard a mix of criticisms yourself that you got to have tough skin for.
Blacktastic's got to be one of the smoothest cats on YouTube. I try to duplicate some of that smoothness, man. He got that Billy D shit going on, man. But I'm not as cool as that, man. But dude, his video, like, he's just so cool. He just has like a real calm, like a calm demeanor. Got the smooth background music and shit. Like I can watch Blacktastic, his videos, man. Just like just smoke a blunt and sip some tequila and be like, just chill,
Yeah, dude.
That's a smooth motherfucker, man. I love Blacktastic.
I couldn't agree more, man. I tell him all the time, he's just the smoothest guy. Like, he has this flow that I just don't have. I'm just now getting to a place that on a good day when I start filming, if I can go like a minute and a half, 2 minutes without like making a mistake or stuttering over my words, because I speak pretty fast too. That's probably one of the things that I kind of have to work on sometimes when I'm doing reviews, is because I'm speaking so quickly. And then what I'll do is I'll stutter, I'll make a mistake, and then I'll try to pick up right after, but then it doesn't sometimes flow with what I said right after. So like I'll try to pick up in the middle of the sentence, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But with Rashad, with Blacktastic, the thing that blows my mind is like he'll send me these videos, and I always look for him, man. He sends me these videos for our collabs, and sometimes they're like over 10 minutes, and I'm sitting there like watching, and I'm like, there's not been a single cut He's not looking at a piece of paper. He's not looking at away from the camera. And he's just talking with this smooth voice. My name is Blacktastic. I'm here on my man Anthony A. Perez's channel, and we're gonna be talking. And he is just super cool and calm the whole time. And I'm like, I just gave him a movie about a boy that like learns that he's a mermaid. I almost gave that to you. I'm not gonna lie. It was a Disney Channel movie about a boy that learns he's a merman. But I gave it to Blacktastic, and bro, he made that movie sound like the coolest movie of all time. Like even the stuff that wasn't good, like he was just so funny about it, bro. So big respect to Blacktastic. If you guys are not already giving Blacktastic some love, you definitely gotta go do that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Check him out.
Key reviews. I ate a CD in one of my reviews. I don't really give a damn what people think. I remember that. What video was that? What video was that?
It was, what was it? It was like a year or so ago. I remember when he did that too. I think it was a video about Superman, about Henry Cavill not playing Superman anymore. I think that's what it was.
I don't remember, but I remember that
he poured syrup on it and everything, and he actually bit the CD. Yeah.
Those skits that he does, man. I like the skit that he did in front of his review for Us, or the one he did in front of his review for Midsummer. Man, I love the way he commits to those skits, man. They're absolutely hilarious. My mom asked if you've ever dated a Puerto Rican woman with your story of craziness.
I dated a Puerto Rican woman. No, I did date a chick from Salvador, but it didn't work because her English wasn't that good and my Spanish wasn't that good. So, but I think her English was better than my Spanish, but it just didn't, it didn't last that long. But yeah, never dated a Puerto Rican though. People mistake me for Puerto Rican all the time. People, to this day, if I go to a gas station or the store or whatever, sometimes somebody will come up to me talking Spanish. And they be, and I'm like, no, black. It's sorry, you look Spanish. I get that a lot.
No, I feel that, man. Like, because like it's surprising. People are like surprised by it sometimes, but there's a lot of black people who are Spanish. Like especially I'm part Cuban, part Puerto Rican, and my great grandmother was black. And so like literally just a couple. It's crazy. Just a couple babies later, and you have a white guy, but yeah, my great grandmother's black, and I have black people on that side of the family. That if you had like a family photo from when I was younger, like you'd be like, "Is this the same family?" But yeah, it's crazy, man. Sometimes I know that happens because some of the people that I work with, they kind of have like that similar kind of look where they're not Hispanic, but they kind of like look like they are, and then they get people coming up to them and just instantly talking in Spanish. We got Prodigious saying that Captain Marvel isn't the strongest for him as well. Yeah, I totally agree. We got Malik the King saying that he's the same. He definitely didn't hate The Last Jedi. I like that Rian Johnson was bold to try something different. Some choices worked, others didn't. Yeah, man. And I think that's just going to be – it's going to depend on the person for sure. And I want to make a comment right here. We got Blacktastic saying that he loves Norbit. I should follow that up by saying – I meant to say it earlier when you mentioned it. Norbit is one of like 3 or 4 movies in my whole life that I have walked out of in the theaters.
Stop playing.
Yeah, bro. I don't walk out of movies. I will watch it and maybe I haven't rewatched it since. So maybe like today, the kind of movie watcher I am, I would sit down and watch the whole thing. But back then, I remember I was in the theater with my mom and my sister. I can't remember what reason it was. I remember the last image I saw was when they were walking down like a hallway, and she like shoved her like the girlfriend. She shoved her hand in like one of the main characters' like back pocket, like in it, like grabbing his ass. I can't remember that. That's all I remember. That's like the last visual I remember from the movie. But I just remember not loving it. The last movie that I walked out of theaters though with my mom, I saw it with my mom and my sister. Terrible idea. Was the movie Bruno with Sacha Baron Cohen. It's like kind of like his follow up to Borat. If you've never seen it before, there's a whole lot of penises in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never. Let me see. I almost walked out of the second Jumanji movie.
Really?
When that just came out recently, I almost walked out. But
that's crazy.
I said I had to, it bored me. I didn't buy The Rock's New Jersey accent. They're supposed to be the avatars of these other characters, and I just didn't buy it. It wasn't funny. I didn't laugh. What kept me in it was the whole monkey scene where they that whole monkey action sequence. I thought was kind of cool, but I almost walked out.
That's crazy because I love that movie, man. I mean, I didn't like. I think it was my least favorite Jumanji movie of the three because I loved the first one with Robin Williams, and when I heard that they were making a new Jumanji, I wasn't feeling it. When I heard it was gonna be a video game, I was like, no. I was like, especially now because people were like, oh, modernize it with a video game. But I was like, people don't play board games today, so it would almost be better to have it kind of be like kids coming across this board game and being like, oh, what is this? Like maybe like in the movie, the power's out or some crap where they like are forced to play it, and then you can have these kids that are separated from a generation of people who used to play a lot of board games who can now got to play a board game. I thought for me that worked better. But after seeing the movie and as somebody who plays a lot of video games, I was like, all right, I really liked it. I thought it was funny. I liked how they changed it up a little bit, But yeah, I definitely think the third one was the weakest one, but I don't think I would have walked out of it. I actually saw it twice in theaters, funny enough.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, other than that, I've never walked out of a movie. I'd say one movie that I wanted to end, not because it was bad, but because I was just so scared of it, and I spent most of the movie like this. Now, mind you, disclaimer: I was 8 years old at the time, and this was Pet Sematary, the first Pet Sematary.
Gotcha.
That movie scared me so bad. I spent 80% of the movie like this, and I couldn't wait for the movie to be over with because it scared me that bad. But other than that, yeah, I never walked out of anything that I can remember.
Funny enough, I think the last time I saw a movie like when I was a kid that really like scared me like that I remember seeing in theaters was funny enough, The Passion of the Christ. Because I grew up in like a really Christian household. I went to Christian private school, literally graduated from a Christian private school, went to Christian private school from kindergarten to my senior year, graduated like in a class of like 23, 24 people. So I had like a bit of a unique experience compared to a lot of my peers who went to public school or whatever. And so, like I remember my mom came home from seeing the movie the first time and she was like really like emotionally just devastated from what she just saw. It's a powerful film. Even if you're not religious, I think it's a powerful film. I'm not really a Christian today. I talked about that in my review, but I always had, like as a kid, especially when it comes to a lot of the demonic elements and like Satan and all that kind of stuff, that stuff gets stuck in your head, man. So I don't know if you've seen The Passion of the Christ. I'm assuming you have, but a lot of those scenes with Satan, especially in the later half of the film, and he's like watching Jesus be whipped, and he's got like this satanic baby in his hands that like looks over all creepy and smiles, and all that stuff stuck with me, man. I remember that night, my sister and I were watching Veggie Tales to try to go to sleep, and I was struggling. I was really struggling after that one to get to sleep. That was definitely a funny one.
Oh my God, Passion of the Christ is such an awesome film. Mel Gibson knocked it out the park with that one. But let me tell you, Passion of the Christ is one of those movies where it's great, but I would never watch it again because I went to see that like you, and I remember everybody in the theater crying. Like more than halfway through, about 2/3 into the movie, all you heard was sniffling. You heard sniffling, you heard people crying. My ex-wife was with me at the time. She was in tears and she's gripping my arm. Like every time he would get whipped, she would like grab my arm. Like I had bruises on my arm after the movie was over with. And I'm sitting back trying to fight the tears because it's like, it's messing me up. You know what I mean? And after that movie was over with, I said, wow, that was a great film, but I will never watch it again. It's just, it's too much for me to handle. And actually I own it. I own the DVD, but it's just sitting there collecting dust. I can't watch it.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that you have to be in the right mood for. The last time I watched it was 2 Christmases ago, and it's because I got it on Blu-ray at that time, and my girlfriend had never seen it before, and so she was like, oh, I want to see it. So, well, not that she wanted to. I wanted her to see it. I've spent most of my relationship with her, like showing her older movies, which is why it's been such a joy to be able to show her like the Friday the 13th movies and the Nightmare on Elm Street and Child's Plays and all this stuff. But that was one that I kept telling her. I was like, you just got to be mentally prepared. Like we're not going in to watch this. Ain't a Spider-Man movie, like this. You gotta like even if you. I feel like Mel Gibson directed that film in such a way that even if you aren't a Christian, even if you walk away from the film and you don't care about any of the spiritual elements of the film, just the story itself, and just how compelling they wrote the character of Jesus and his what his goal was in this whole thing, and like his him being stuck on like this is what's going to happen. Like I'm not going to waver from my thoughts. It's a tough movie to watch, man. It's definitely one of those films that you definitely 100% have to be in the right headspace for.
Nah, definitely. And isn't he working on a sequel? I keep hearing about he's doing a sequel
Yeah,
to it.
he's doing a sequel, and when I heard that, I go, man, like that's gonna be a hard one to follow up, man, because I feel like what brought the impact was obviously the event of the torture and the crucifixion, and to remove that from like now you're gonna jump to when he resurrects, like it's just like how much of a really compelling follow up can you give? We know the story if you've ever read the Bible, or the story. There's been a bajillion movies on Jesus, but yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what they do next. Let's try to catch up here on some of these comments we got. Got Malik saying that he also feels bad for the actors who are attacked and threatened when they're just trying to do their jobs. Yeah, man, 100%. I hate seeing a movie where actors are, being shit on. We were talking about The Last Jedi, and you commented on that not too long ago. But in Kelly Marie Tran, who played the character of Rose in The Last Jedi, she got a lot of shit, man. Like, and listen, Rose, for me, that character didn't need to have really been there. I think when you look at the trilogy as a whole, she kind of feels like a pointless character. Like they just didn't do much with her, even in Rise of Skywalker. But I enjoyed her character for the time she was on screen. She's definitely not the worst Star Wars character I've seen, or especially as somebody like who keeps up with the books and the comics and the animated stuff. You come across garbage characters all the time, but Rose was just another just fine Star Wars character. But man, she had to delete her social media and all this stuff. And I remember when I went to see, we went to Star Wars Celebration in Chicago last April, when they had the panel for the Rise of Skywalker. All the cast and everybody came out. It was amazing. I was inside the room. Stephen Colbert came out, and he was like the host. And they had J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, Daisy Ridley, all of them come out. And when Kelly Marie Tran came out, the entire arena that we were in just gave her a huge standing ovation. Completely paused the show for a moment to give this girl a few minutes standing ovation. And it was clear that the Star Wars fan base, that, even if they don't love the movies, are there to support the creators. They were out there. Everybody wanted to show their support to this girl for a moment, to just be like, listen, you get all this hate online. It may appear that those people are all of the Star Wars fans, but then she came on stage and she got this big, huge roaring applause. And it was really nice. She was you could see that she was really emotionally moved by it. And it just goes to show these are people, man. If I got hired to be in a Star Wars movie or a movie and I was hyped on it and I turned out to be the worst character in the movie, I wouldn't want people to I don't know, you do your best. Look at what happened to Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar Binks. Young black man gets the chance to play Jar Jar Binks. One of probably the first motion capture character, because they were still building the coding for all of that. Prior to Smeagol, Gollum, all that jazz. But yeah, and Ahmed Best, he's come out and talked about the fact that he was suicidal after the Phantom Menace because of the response to it, and obviously since then he's kind of come around, but it's just heartbreaking to hear that kind of stuff, from people who get the opportunity to do something that most people won't be able to,
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree, man. And sometimes you have to learn to separate, the person from, I think it's okay to hate a character, but not the person that played it. For example, I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but I hated Joffrey, the character of Joffrey. I still to this day, I hate him with a passion. But if I ever saw the actor in person, bro, you did a good job playing that. It's, the person is not the character. And I think sometimes, especially with some toxic Star Wars fans, that they forget that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's okay to hate a character, but the person just doing their job, what they get paid for, and they getting paid most likely a lot more than we are. So shut up.
It's so true, bro. You got Q reviews in here saying the difference of opinions makes us who we are. Totally agree. Blacktastic said that he's super biased because he loves Eddie Murphy. That's referring to
Norbit.
referring to Norbit. You got Prodigy just saying respect comes acknowledgement. If you can respectfully agree or disagree on something that deserves acknowledgement, yeah, man, for sure. You got to be able to do that, especially when it comes to art, because like we were saying before, it's 100% subjective. My mom says, I love M. Night movies. He's one of my faves, and I know not many people, including my son, agree with me. It's not that I don't agree with you. I think that the thing for me is that he had a lull in his career for me compared to some of his earlier stuff. When you look at, The Sixth Sense and, a lot of the earlier films that he did that stood out, when he started doing stuff like Lady in the Water. The Village is one I'm like half and half with. I like The Village, but then I don't like The Village at times. It's kind of, I like the ending. I like the twist ending, but have you seen The Village before?
I hated it.
Yeah,
Hated
see,
it with passion.
yeah, there you go, man. See, that's the thing is he has
Twist
these
pissed me
movies.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, he has these movies that are like hit or miss, you know. But he came back with like Split and Glass, and then he did one a few years ago. I can't remember the name. I think it was called The Visit, where these kids go and visit their grandparents, but it ends at the end of the movie. It's not really their grandparents. But yeah, he's got a hit or miss kind of thing with me. And then I mean, don't even get me started on Avatar: The Last Airbender. That was one of the worst films of all time. Not only as an adaptation of the show, but as a movie on its own, it's bad. But when he has good ones, like I think one of my favorite movies from him is Signs. I think Signs, it's still a great film that really holds up. But what are your thoughts on M. Night?
I'm not a fan either, but yeah, I will agree. Signs is probably his best movie. Then I would say The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. His first few movies were good. After The Village, it was all downhill. I hated The Village. I liked the premise of it. I liked where it was going, and then when the twist happened, I said, "Nah, bro." I said, "Nah." And after that, it was just miss after miss. What's the one he did with Mark Wahlberg where the people's falling out the sky and shit?
The Happening. Yeah, that one's bad.
That happening. Oh God! Have you ever seen not Jeremy Johns, but Chris Stuckman did a hilariosity video on that.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his. I mean, I respect him. I mean, I respect anybody that can get behind the camera and make a movie. You know what I mean? I respect him for that. But am I gonna pay to see any of his shit? No.
Have you seen Split? Do you like Split?
I tried watching Split. I couldn't get into it.
I would say try to give it another shot. It's a really good movie. Like that one for me, I would say it was like his kind of resurgence for me, like a really good return to form of what made his earlier movies good. But I can feel it. Q Review says that he likes A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and that I said that Alice is trash. Yeah, we were just talking in our group chat not too long ago about the character of Alice. Here's my thing, man. And I'm going to get into it when I review the fourth movie and the fifth movie. Kristen, like number one, what I think that Dream Warriors did so well was that they set up fun and compelling characters, and they stand out in the slasher genre as characters that you actually care for and you're rooting for them across the course of the film. And by the end of the movie, you have a handful of them that survive. Well, you know, because it's a slasher film. People got to die. So the people who die, good riddance. It's, you know, but it's a bummer. You're not like heartbroken about it, but it's a bummer. But then those who survive are like, cool. So then you start the movie off, and we're reintroduced to these new characters. And first of all, in the fourth film, we got this very bland recasting of Patricia Arquette's character, Kristen, and the Kristen that they had at the beginning of the fourth film is just, and you spend like the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie with this other character, with Kristen, just for her to transfer over her whole like dream power to Alice. They get rid of Kincaid, they get rid of Joey, and now we have all these unlikable characters, and Alice is just kind of like bland to me, man. She's a bland character. Now, I will say she was better in the fifth movie that I just watched the other night, or last night. I just finished watching it last night. I liked her better as in the fifth movie, but I just feel like she's a bit of a bland protagonist for me. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'll feel different if I revisit these movies someday. But yeah, I don't know. The fourth and fifth movies for me, compared to the first three Nightmare on Elm Streets, I think that these last two though have had really great practical effects. Again, Freddy's great. Any scene with him is great. You know, and then there's the extra cheese you got in Nightmare 5 with Super Freddy.
Yeah, no, look, yeah, Alice is definitely not the best character in the Elm Street series. I mean, of course, that crown goes to Nancy and then Kristen, and then you know, I mean, you could throw Alice in there somewhere, but yeah, she wasn't the best character. I just said she was easy on the eyes. The fifth movie, I was crushed by the fifth movie. I was crushed on Alice big time. You know what I mean? I even try to look her up and see if I can, you know, marry her one day, man. But you know, I think she got somebody now, so you know, that's no go. Yeah, four was fun, but four was really camp. You know what I mean? And by the fifth movie, they try to get dark with it. They try to make it scary again and take it back to the roots of the earlier movies, because four became kind of a comedy. And by that time, you know, I'm older than you, so at the time, Freddy was like a pop icon. Like the guy was all over the place. He was on candy, he was a doll, he was a board game, a Nintendo game. Freddy was all over the place. He became a rock star, and he wasn't scary anymore. People weren't scared of Freddy. So by the fifth movie, they try to make Freddy scary again, but I think they definitely missed the mark on that. And don't even get me started with Freddy's Dead. Jesus Christ.
Which one's Freddy's Dead again? Is that the sixth one?
That's the sixth one.
All right, so
Yeah.
that's what I got coming up next.
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking forward to it. I think after getting through the whole Friday the 13th franchise, I think what I'm at least enjoying, and I loved something about all of those movies. I think what I'm at least getting that's a little bit more fun with the Nightmare on Elm Street movies is a little bit of a difference. Like there's a little bit of a difference, especially with the very creative kills. Jason's got a lot of that, you know what I mean, in a lot of his movies. But at the end of the day, it's still like horny teens, camp, machete killer, like that same gist every time. I think what upsets me a little bit about Nightmare on Elm Street watching it is like you can't lie to me, even with the recast of Kristen, but during Dream Warriors, when they're all coming together and they all like know about Freddy, you have this group of characters that already knows about him and they want to try to combat him. And even at the beginning of the fourth movie, when they're all together and they're like they already have history with this character. There's at least there's a little bit more of an entertainment value there than having to reset it with the character that already knows about Freddy and everybody being like, "You're crazy. You just need to sleep." And then she's just like, "You just don't understand. You're all gonna die." And then 3 or 4 people die, and then that person's like, "Oh my God, you're right. This guy is real." And it's like, all right, we're gonna do this every single movie. So it's like that's the one thing rewatching it that is just like a bit redundant, but it just comes with the nature of this kind of movie. Child's Play did the same thing. It's like somebody knows that he's a doll, other people think they're crazy, then they find out at the last second that he's actually some sort of killer doll, and then it's like a never-ending cycle with these kind of movies.
Okay, well, I need to ask you a question if it's okay. All right, so
Yeah.
Freddy's my favorite slasher, but I can call a spade a spade. Some of the movies weren't that good, but to me, Robert Englund is Freddy. He will always be Freddy. I don't care. Like that's Freddy. That's my guy. So Freddy's my favorite slasher. But when they remade Elm Street in 2010, I thought it was a slap in the face. It was insulting. They should take that movie and burn it. I absolutely hated it because I said that's not Freddy. So my question to you, I think you know where I'm going with this. You're a big fan of Chucky. Chucky is your guy. All right. So from Child's Play to Seed of Chucky, well, and then the other ones, Curse and Cult of Chucky, that was Chucky. Now they have 2019. They rebooted with this whole different origin, this whole different looking character. If I'm a Chucky fan, if I'm you, I would be insulted. I would be like, what the fuck did y'all do? All right. What did you think of that new Child's Play? Is that Chucky for you?
It's not Chucky, and I think that for me it's not Chucky. It just doesn't ring the same thing. Now, I'm of the mindset that if we're gonna do a remake, make it different, man. Make it different enough for it to even exist. And so what I can appreciate about that remake for me was the fact that it's tough because I love Brad Dourif as Chucky. The voice is iconic. Just from everything from him saying, "Don't fuck with the Chuck," or like so many other little lines of dialogue, just the way he cusses, the way he does things. I think about that first film when the mom is like shaking him. She's like, "God damn it, move, damn it." And "I'll throw you into the fire." And he's like, "You fucking bitch." Like all of that for me is like, it's just so, I love the way that he plays the character. Like just, he's so extra about the way he plays the character, but it brings that charm to it. And so when I heard that Mark Hamill was going to be playing him, I was like, okay, I'm going to miss Brad Dourif, and the whole thing that it's going to be more of a robot rather than a voodoo possessed doll. I was already kind of like about it leading up to it, but then I was like, okay, I love Mark Hamill. I love him as Luke Skywalker. I love him as the Joker. Anytime he appears in anything, I love his commitment to the roles. And I don't think it's his fault because I think he did fine. Like he has like a creepy voice, and then he has like that song he sings in the movie, like "I am your buddy until the end," like some creepy shit. And so like there's moments where it's like kind of creepy, where like like when he's like the kid wakes up, the Andy of this movie wakes up, and he sees like Chucky just standing in the corner, like staring at him, or he's like right off the side of the bed, and he's like whispering to him and stuff like that was creepy. And I appreciated the fact that instead of it being like this evil doll who wants to be this kid's friend to try to transfer souls, it's like, oh, here's this doll who like really wants to be your friend. And if he can't be your friend, then nobody can be your friend. Like that element I thought was cool. They did something different with it. But by the end of the movie, I just felt like what makes Chucky just wasn't there. And you're going to cast somebody like Mark Hamill who can do arguably one of the best Joker laughs of all time, and you're not going to have him do some form of Chucky laugh. Like, it didn't have to be a Joker laugh or even a copy of Brad Dourif, but he had like a giggle. He didn't really have like that big, like that rich laugh that Brad Dourif brings to Chucky. Like, that's one of my favorite moments. I love anytime Chucky's on screen and he has like that big over the top laugh, especially when he's just like chilling, because he just doesn't care. He's like so cocky about what he's going to do. And I feel like that was what was lacking about the movie. I didn't hate it as much as other people, but I just thought it was okay.
Listen, I'm a passionate film goer, so if something disturbs me, I'm gonna say it. I walked out of Child's Play. I pointed to the screen. I had my daughter with me. I pointed to the screen. I said, "That was not Chucky." And I did the same thing in Rise of Skywalker. I think you remember the story in my review for Rise of Skywalker. I'm sitting in my recliner, and the end comes up, and the lady asks Ray, "What's your name?" And she says, "Ray. Ray what?" And I pointed to the screen. I said, "Don't you say it." I said, "Don't you fucking say it, Skywalker." I said, "God damn it." I put my shoes on. I put my chair back. I looked at my daughter. I said, "That's some bullshit." And my daughter got embarrassed. She says, "Oh my God, like, Daddy, stop." As I'm walking out, once again, I yelled at the screen. I said, "She's not a Skywalker." And I walked out.
I would have been the guy looking at you like, what's wrong with this crazy guy? No, I mean, I feel you, man. Like, I think with the Rise of Skywalker, man, we did that. If anybody's curious and interested in that, Rashad, Q Reviews, and I did over an hour conversation that you can find here on my channel. I think you can find it on all three of our channels. We did a full spoiler discussion on everything and anything that could have been talked about that movie. There's definitely a lot of thoughts on that one. But yeah, I feel you, man. Like, sometimes there's just these movies that just make you, like with that Chucky movie, it's fine. But look, bro, it just goes to show that movie happened. People saw it. People had positives and negatives to say about it, and it moved on. But everybody has still been clamoring for the follow-up to Cult of Chucky, because even though Cult of Chucky isn't like a great movie, it ended things in like probably the most interesting place that any Chucky movie had ever ended something. Like, he's finally in a human body again. And he has this ability to have multiple Chucky dolls that are all him, but like not him at the same time. And he's in the main girl's body now. And Tiffany showed up again, and Tiffany's doll sitting in the back seat, and that's where they left it. And then they canceled the movie series, and I was like, what? But now we have that new Chucky series coming out on Sci-Fi that's going to be a follow-up to the movies with Brad Dourif returning and with the same creators of the other movie. So I'm just happy that we're getting that. Whatever, we got that one-off movie. Sure, that's fine. But I'm happy that we're getting the return of the proper Chucky.
Have you seen my review for Cult of Chucky? I'm just curious.
I have not. Can I assume that you thought it was ass?
Well, just check it out and get back with me. All right. Not only am I skinnier in the video, but I have some interesting things to say about Cult of Chucky. So yeah, look, okay. Check that one out.
All right.
Well, okay. Let me ask you, of all the remakes, okay. So you have the Friday the 13th, 2009. You have Elm Street, 2010. You have the Return of Halloween, 2007. All right, and then you have Child's Play, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which one of those remakes, or reboots, do you think were the best of all those?
Oh, tough to say which is the best. I'm excited to rewatch the Nightmare on Elm Street one soon. I'm watching them all in order right now. Then we're gonna watch Freddy. My girlfriend has been wanting to watch Freddy vs. Jason after we watched all the Jason movies, but I was like, she had never seen any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I was like, you can't just jump into Freddy vs. Jason and have this be your first experience with Freddy. Like, we gotta watch all those other ones first. So once we catch up on all those, we're gonna watch Freddy vs. Jason, and then we're gonna watch the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. So I'm curious to see what I'll think about it today with new eyes, because I haven't seen it since 2010, so it's been 10 years. It's crazy. But I do like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. It's not like the greatest movie. It's very standard in a lot of ways, but I feel like it's eerie, it's creepy, it's kind of gross. But I will say, man, I watched the Friday the 13th remake not too long ago, and I did doing that review series, and I just found it to be refreshing in the series, man. After binging all of them, like, my favorite one is still the 6th movie, Jason Lives. I feel like it has one foot in the cheesy side of what works for this franchise, and one foot in the serious side, and it's able to kind of balance the two, and has some fun kills. It's entertaining. It's a flat out good movie. But then you got some real stinkers in there, man. There's a lot of fucking stinkers in that franchise. That just on a character level, like the kills can be good, the practical effects and all that can be good, but the characters are what I really cared about. And so watching the remake, I like that they took the first three, Friday the 13th, and they put it into one. You got to get some things kind of recontextualized, and then it's easily the best looking of the movies, like just cinematography wise. Some of the kills are a little bit generic, but I really like that one. So I'll say that one right now off the top of my head. If I had to think, because it's the freshest in my mind, I think that remake for me was like a breath of fresh air because it was well acted. It didn't have as much cheese as some of the other ones. It was a little more serious. Jason was fucking massive in that one, and so there's some really good moments. Yeah, I would say that. What about you? What would you say is your favorite of those remakes?
I agree, definitely. Yeah, Friday the 13th, I really had fun with that. It really, brought it back to the Jason that we know and love with some updated effects and without the censoring. And we talked about this in the group chat a little bit, how in the latter Friday the 13th movies like New Blood and Jason Takes Manhattan, they censored the fuck out of those movies. Like you see Jason swinging the machete right before he connects, they cut it. Or he's getting ready to do something to somebody, like he's ready to shove like something like a knife in somebody's head, and they cut it. And I'm like, well, damn, can we get some blood? Can we get something?
No.
I feel like he was watching the movie on regular TV. So I mean, I know that was an MPA. They did that. I know the filmmakers can only do so much in the studio, but yeah, this brought Jason back to forms. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, Friday the 13th was the best one. I think the Rob Zombie Halloween was kind of a missed opportunity because I think Rob Zombie, to go into his origin, kind of took away the mystique of Michael Myers. Yeah. Because there's really no clear explanation of why Michael Myers does what he does. And I think that's what makes him scary, is because you don't know why he's evil. He's just evil. You know what I mean? And to give him a whole backstory and, the stuff that he was bullied as a kid, he came from a messed up home. It just took away from the mystique of Michael Myers. So, I mean, it was okay, but I just didn't really, I still think the first one was scarier. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, Friday the 13th, 2009.
Yeah, I mean, with the remake of Halloween is one I've always enjoyed, but I rewatched it not too long ago, and I went through like a little Rob Zombie binge. I watched like his Firefly trilogy with House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell, and he just has this very unique like way of writing dialogue where everybody is over the top, obscene, potty mouth, just fucking vile, and that movie just has a lot of that. So it's like, yeah, like they made Michael Myers to be this guy who was just raised in the absolute worst situation of all time. And even in the original series, I think in the fifth film, The Curse of Michael Myers, when they like start to dip their toes into explaining like this like almost like satanic ritual past of his, like it starts to, like you said, take away from the mystique of him just being the dude that puts a mask on. But I think the best part, though, without a doubt, and I just commented this on something of Q's reviews, one of the best parts about that Halloween remake was Joe Grizzly, bro. I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch. Like that's without a doubt one of my favorite moments of the whole movie.
Oh yeah, facts.
All right, let's look at some of these comments we got here. We got Malik the King saying that Norbit is a guilty pleasure for him. The only Eddie Murphy movie that he didn't like was Pluto Nash, which I have shamefully have never seen. I've never seen Pluto Nash.
Don't watch it.
Got Q review saying that he likes Howard the Duck. I haven't seen Howard the Duck in years, but I'd like to revisit it. Are you a fan of Howard the Duck?
I love Howard the Duck. I grew up on that, man.
Yeah, that's one I definitely want to revisit at some point. Hold on, I got way too far.
Howard the Duck, as bad as people say that movie is, it has some great effects for its time. George Lucas was behind that, and the effects, for the time were pretty fucking awesome, but for some reason it just didn't. Maybe the whole thing with the duck and the girl, the bestiality thing, maybe that threw a lot of people off. I love that movie, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. I think that probably put a few people off, but yeah, I feel you. Blacktastic says Pluto Nash is bad, but Eddie's always has a fine ass female co-star in his films. Oh yeah, of course.
Facts. Yes, sir.
Says hell, I've always liked Mac and Me as a kid. Yeah, Mac and Me is like one of those just like fun guilty pleasure movies for me. Have you ever seen that movie?
No. Isn't that like the E.T. ripoff? That
Yeah,
came
it's like
out
an
like
EP ripoff, and it's got like a
yeah,
huge like McDonald's is a huge part of that movie. Funny enough.
yeah, nah, never seen that one.
Yeah, it's really cheesy and bad, but it's kind of like one of those so funny. It's like so bad it's good. Um, Black Tessa says, treat your regular videos like a live stream, and you won't care about making mistakes. Yeah, I appreciate that about you, man. Because even when you do, but I don't know, Blacktastic. I don't think that we can relate to you in that way, bro. Because you just have this smoothness, this just I'm
Yeah, yeah.
Blacktastic media. Like for
And
me, I'm like,
hello, and welcome to my point of view movie reviews. And I'm like,
yeah,
damn that motherfucker smooth, man.
yeah. Me on the other hand, I'm over here just like, and and in this movie, um, and this movie was really well, and I'm just like stubborn over my words. The thoughts are getting incoherent, and I just can't do it. So if I had it in the video, it'd almost be cringy to watch because I like to
Yeah.
watch back my videos from time to time. And
Mhm.
yeah, Blacktastic, you just have this smoothness about you, bro. That even when you do stumble over a word, it's like even the stumbling over the word is done smoothly.
Right.
Let me see here. Mac the King says, yes, big ups to you guys. When I get the right equipment set up, I definitely want to get into reviews as well, man. Yeah, for sure, dude. Get to it, man. It's one of those things that I would even argue this, man. You don't even really need the right equipment setup. That was really kind of what was keeping me back. And all of my videos, anybody who watches my videos, all of my reviews, all of my supercut videos, all of my vlogs, everything that I do on the channel, I film it, edit it, and upload it all from my phone. I use iMovie on my phone. Supercuts I do on my phone. Everything. I'm not really super savvy with like editing software on the computer, and so I do everything via my phone, man. My iPhone 8. So if you have anything better than an iPhone 8, you could be doing the exact same thing. I tell you that.
Look, I got a Motorola Android that I've been using for the past 2 years. I downloaded a Cyberlink Power Director. That's what I edited on, and I got a $36 light ring here that I got from Amazon. Bro, that's all you need.
Yep. I got a light ring too. My mom got me one for Christmas sitting right over there. I have that little corner. Like my apartment is like, just whatever, like a typical apartment. And then I have this one corner over there with a bookshelf and the Obi-Wan Kenobi stand up. And I just set it up every time. I do my little thing. And then I kind of just move everything away. But yeah, man, you really don't need much. And even if you want to buy a couple of things, there's some cheaper stuff that you can get into. Blacktastic says Q Reviews is one of the most innovative YouTubers I've ever come across. I totally agree, man. I totally agree. Sometimes I feel like Q doesn't give himself enough credit because Q is, like I said, I learned a lot about what I was doing with YouTube at first from him.
No, definitely. Like, look, but because of Q, I got my energy up here. If you watch my older videos, I kind of talk kind of like monotone, really kind of serious, man. And Q really influenced me to get more energetic, more in my videos. You know what I mean? So yeah, shout out to Q, man.
For sure. And he says that Blacktastic is the #1 director. Yeah, man, Blacktastic has a career coming up in directing for sure, bro. It's
Don't
clear
forget
as
about
day.
the little people when you make it on top. All right. Put a brother in the movie, man. Give me a cameo or something. I could be the black guy that gets killed in the movie. Put me in there somewhere. All right. Don't forget about a brother.
Prodigy says, I'm a gamer too, but your pitch for Jumanji 2 is way better than the actual film. Power is out and kids are forced to play a kind of Jumanji board game. Yeah, man. I think that for me, when anybody kind of used the criticism of like, oh, but they're modernizing it, like video games is what people play today. And I thought to myself, that almost makes it better of an idea to do it as board game because kids would see that and be like, oh, I don't want to play this board game, like whatever. But now they're in a situation, maybe they do, maybe there's a blizzard outside, maybe there's whatever. But keeping it a board game, I feel like kept it that there was this sense of intrigue, kind of like, people just kind of sitting around and doing this. I do like what they did with the video game concept, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I think that a board game concept for Jumanji just worked. And I think that charm that you have in the first one just isn't all there. Even a movie that was kind of like a spin-off of Jumanji, Zethura. I don't know if you've ever seen Zethura, but it's like it was made from some of the same creators, if I'm not mistaken, and it's the same kind of idea. These kids come across a board game, and instead of it being like a jungle-themed, like animal-themed one like Jumanji, it's like a space-themed one. So like one of the moves ends up like their house is in the middle of space now, and so they have to finish the game so that they can get back to normality. But same thing, like they come across like they have like robots that come out, like a sci-fi version of Jumanji. It's like a good family movie, and I just feel like the board game element just kind of makes things fun. Let's see. I got my mom here saying Last Temptation of Christ is one of my favorite soundtracks by Peter Gabriel. Watch that one too. I've never seen that one. I've always heard of it, but just never seen it. Most of Rose's parts in The Rise of Skywalker were filmed with Carrie. Once she died, a lot of her scenes were removed. Yeah, which makes sense. I just feel like Rose just wasn't given much to do. Like she should have been. If anything, I feel like when she came out on stage, bro, at the Star Wars Celebration panel with everybody else, one of the biggest things that J.J. Abrams said to everybody before we saw the trailer that everybody hyped was that that the crew was going to be together on this mission, which for the most part they are. You got Poe, Rey, Finn, all of them, 3PO, Chewie, everybody's on the adventure together. But she was on stage too, so I almost thought that Rose would be a part of the adventure too, and she just kind of get left behind with the rest of the rebellion and didn't really have much to do.
Right.
Got HH Night Reviews, High Heel Night Reviews saying the Pluto Nash film had a hologram of Rosario Dawson with giant boobs and booty. Therefore, I will always appreciate that film. Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen that movie. What was that you were saying?
No, so yeah, shout out to Rosario Dawson, man. She's freaking gorgeous. I've never watched Pluto Nash. I've seen the trailer, I skipped it, and then I saw what people had to say about it, and I said, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I never actually watched it.
I've only ever heard of it, but it's just one of those that just never. I feel like I've never really heard a lot of people talk about it that much. Where I was just like, Prodigy says Mark Hamill was at least different compared to Dorff. Yeah, he was definitely different. You know what I mean? Like that's what I praise is the difference if anything, the difference in the storytelling, which obviously would bring a different Chucky. I just think that what I like about Chucky just wasn't all there for like a remake. We got cool movie rated going. And then Prodigy just once again says Child's Play 2019. Haven't seen it yet, but I could have some fun with it. Nightmare 2010 was okay. Hated the Friday the 13th remake and don't care for the Texas Chainsaw remake. Hey, man, go right back to what we were saying at the beginning. Just different opinions, man, because I genuinely do like the Friday the 13th remake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Chainsaw Me, yeah, it was pretty fire. Oh, yeah. Facts.
Let's see, MPA was all over Friday the 13th. Yeah, man, they ruined a lot of those movies because even when I was doing those reviews, every time I watched one, I would kind of like. Have you guys ever heard of the channel? What is it called? Dead Meat. Have you ever heard of the channel Dead Meat?
No.
Well, it's a YouTube channel where this guy goes through all the horror films and he's done a bunch at this point. And he's done all the Friday the 13th, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets. And it's like they're like a bigger YouTube channel. So they have a lot of production, and he goes through all the movies and he does a kill count of all the kills in the movie, and he essentially breaks down the movie. So anytime that I watch a movie, the first time I watch it, especially the horror movies, I just watch it. The second time, what I'll do is I'll watch the Dead Meat video where he breaks down all the kills, and I'll write notes. I'll write like a page of notes for like things I specifically wanted to talk about, maybe some kills that like I forgot about earlier in the film, but then they come back to mind. So I'll write a page of notes, and I'll usually do that right after I watch the movie, just so that I can like have like a fresh take of everything note wise. But yeah, in those videos, he talked a lot about like certain kills that I didn't know about that were like kind of like what you were saying, where like Jason goes in for the slash, but then it cuts away, or like so Jason will go to stab, and he stabs like through like a piece of wood or like through a wall or through a door, and then it cuts to the next shot, and it's just like this section of the person, and they're just like, oh, and they just like fall over and die, but you don't ever see them get stabbed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Cool Movies rating saying that his favorite horror movie is the 1978 Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis does an amazing job as Laurie Strode, and I watched the 1980 Friday the 13th for the first time, and it was a meh movie. Yeah, man, because Halloween is like a really good first movie. Like, I think that it's like a really solid movie and a slasher movie. But in the mix of that, you also have these elements about it. Like we were talking about the other day in our group chat, where it's just funny to like watch it today and see like Michael Myers just like his big ass standing behind a tree in broad daylight, like as if it's like scary. You know what I mean? But it's kind of funny today.
Yeah, Halloween still holds up. I just watched it on my projector recently, and I'm like, holy shit, like, John Carpenter really did his thing with this. The theme, just the atmosphere, and just his setup for the kills, the suspense was crazy. But I'm gonna agree also with the Friday the 13th. When I first saw that first Friday the 13th, I think that was like the third movie that I've seen. Because I think I started with Final Chapter, and then I watched the second one and the third one. So I didn't see Friday 1 until like a lot later. But I'm thinking it was going to be Jason in the movie. So when I first saw Friday the 13th, I hated it. First time watching, I hated it. I'm watching, I'm like, where's Jason? I'm like, where the hell is Jason? They come to find out it's his mama. And I said, well, goddamn, that was a waste of an hour and a half. I wanted Jason. I don't want to see his mama. You know, so yeah. So I mean, I can appreciate it now, but back then as a kid, I was like, man, fuck this movie.
Yeah, no, I appreciated it when I watched it recently, but I remember that I did the review for it, and I liked the movie. I liked certain things about it, but I wasn't crazy about it. There was definitely things about it that I was making fun of because a lot of the acting is bad and all that jazz. And I remember getting a text from or a message on Facebook from Q Reviews, just being like, "Bro, you just shit all over Friday the 13th. Those are my movies, man." I was like, "No, I'm not trying to shit on them. It just didn't do it for me, man."
Oh man, yeah, he didn't like that at all.
Yeah, it was funny, but that's why I knew I had to have you guys in some future videos. We got Prodigy saying Rob Zombie's Halloween has some potential. Yeah, I think it definitely had more potential. It wasn't as good. The second Rob Zombie Halloween movie for me is got to be one of my least favorite Halloween films.
No, definitely, I agree. Yeah.
So I'm ashamed to say I've actually yet to see the 2018 Halloween movie. I just kind of missed it in theaters, and I still haven't seen it. But I really want to because I know the new one, Halloween Kills, I think it's called, is coming out soon. Halloween Ends or whatever. So I want to see that. Let's see. The cult crap made the movie absolute garbage, but hey, had some good qualities. I'm assuming you're talking about the 2018 movie. So yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I guess so. There's cult stuff in it. Let's see. Commando, 1985, with Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the best guilty pleasure movies. Yeah, I love that movie. That's just like one of those like 80s machismo films, you know?
Now we talking. Yeah, I love Commando. I grew up on that. Yeah, me and my cousin used to watch that all the time. They even had a Commando action figure.
I'm not surprised.
Huh?
I was gonna say I'm not surprised because I remember growing up as a kid and going to like a lot of like those pop culture shows or like shows, not pop culture, like stores and like stuff like that, and you would always like just see a row of like these 80s action figures. Like it'd be the Predator, it'd be an Alien, it'd be like something like for Arnold from like Commando, and then like a Chucky or Freddy, like whatever, like all these like icons from the 80s were constantly like in action figures.
Yeah, let me tell you, Commando was the movie that made me turn against Sly. Because as a kid, I was a big Rocky fan. I'm still a big Rocky fan to this day. But Stallone was my guy. But when I saw Commando and I saw how big Arnold was, I said, I want to be that guy. Because Arnold, Rambo. Let me tell you something. Rambo was a bad motherfucker. But Arnold, Commando, John Matrix was on a different buff level. This guy was ruthless. Like when he took that pipe and threw that shit in my man's chest, let out some steam, Bennett. No, yeah, definitely a classic line. Q Review says, "Hey, Bestiality was in the shape of water, and it won an Oscar." You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Good point. Good point.
Prodigious says, "Great note. Possibly Blacktastic treat your regular videos as live streams." Yeah, definitely a great point. Q Reviews followed that up by Blacktastic is the YouTube Billy D for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Come on, handle, buddy. Don't let me down.
Anthony, the way you explain how you try to do your videos is very relatable, but don't worry, man. You and me both will get out of that phase. Yeah, man. It's this thing where it's just like, I think something that we all go through, not just you and I. It's just like you either let it get to your head or you just have a good time. Like I look at something like this tonight, man. We decided to do this. We're already an hour and a half in. Right. Hopefully I'm not taking too much of your night. We got multiple people watching who have, been a part of this, and sometimes you just gotta enjoy the little things,
Yeah, definitely.
We've got Learn saying, well, get ready for them to milk Jumanji for all it's worth. Those movies have been killing it in the box office. Yeah, and after the last one, they left it very open for another one. I don't know how much you remember the ending, but when they get to I don't know if you remember there was the whole subplot going on, or like kind of like side story about Danny DeVito's character, like having owned, like him and Danny Glover, they owned like a cafe back in the day, or they owned some shop, and then they ended up selling it out. And the lady who they actually ended up selling it to, who owned the restaurant they used to own, was actually the lady who played the aunt from the first Jumanji movie. So it was like connective tissue there, that she was the aunt from the first movie who had the kids, Kirsten Dunst and all them. So I am curious to see if they tie in the next Jumanji movie with the first film. Let me see what else we got here. Malik the King said, I definitely want to see you guys do Halloween Resurrection next year. I'm interested in how you guys felt about Busta Rhymes karate kicking Michael Myers. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
Halloween Resurrection was a terrible movie, but I had fun watching it because, once again, I was drunk when I went to go see it. So I had a great time laughing at it. Yeah, when Busta kicked Michael through I laughed. I thought it was, people say it's probably the worst Halloween movie. It probably is, but I had a good time watching it. But I haven't watched it since, so I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it again sober, because I watched it drunk back in 2002, so I don't remember it.
Yeah, I always think about that scene of him kicking him. It's like, that movie for me is like, I think that one also has Tyra Banks in it, if I'm not mistaken, and it's like, yeah. It's like when I saw the two of them, and I remember back then even thinking that, like, I thought to myself, this is strange. But man, Busta Rhymes was also in that movie, and what's funny is Busta Rhymes sometimes when you see rappers or certain music artists in general, or like people like Tyra Banks, stuff like that, get into acting or these movies where it's just like they're not actors first, they're just feel like they're trying to act. Sometimes it can stand out and you're not really a big fan of it. But a movie that I saw not too long ago that you had me watch, I'm struggling to remember the name right now. But it had Busta Rhymes in it, I think, right? With the one with what movie? What's the name of the movie?
Higher Learning.
Higher Learning, yeah, bro. I really liked that movie, man. Like, I really liked that movie. And I remember Busta Rhymes was in it. Everybody in that movie did a good job. Nobody, and I don't think anybody gave a bad performance. And Busta Rhymes for me was actually pretty funny, bro. Like, he had like this intimidating presence, and he knew about it too.
Yeah.
And he was funny in that movie.
Yeah, he was just playing Busta Rhymes. That's how he is in his music videos. And by the way, I just listened to his newest album that just dropped yesterday, man, or day before yesterday. Yeah, fire, man. Shout out to Busta Rhymes. Still going strong in the game, man. Dope album. Yeah, he was playing himself though, just loud and talking shit. Yeah, that's Busta. Now the movie could have did without Tyra Banks. I honestly couldn't stand Tyra Banks in the movie.
Yeah,
I mean, spoiler when she got. What she got later on in the movie, that should have been a way more emotional scene than what it was. But because her acting was so bad, I was just like, okay, I'm supposed to feel something, but I don't. Like, nothing like when Ricky got killed in Boys in the Hood, spoiler for Boys in the Hood, when Ricky got killed in Boys in the Hood, you felt that. You was like, holy shit, not Ricky, Ricky! Everybody's crying and shit. But when she got killed, I was like, so?
Pretty much, yeah. That's how I felt. That's how I felt about that movie in general. It was like, but like it's kind of got like these. It's got those things like Busta Rhymes kicking Michael Myers that just it just has this unique feel to it that the other films don't have. It's kind of like similar to when I just watched this last Nightmare on Elm Street that I watched, the fifth one, Dream Master, I think it's called, the Dream Child. That scene where he kills the comic book guy, where he does the whole Super Freddy thing. The guy ends up turning into like a cartoon character, like a piece of paper, and he's just cutting paper to kill this guy. And I'm just like, it's stuff like that just these stand out really cheesy moments. I would say is similar to Busta Rhymes karate kicking Michael Myers.
Okay, well, since we're on the topic of that, because we kind of went back and forth with this today. So you said the kills in 5 were better than the kills in 4. I beg to differ. All right, I think 5 had 3 kills, I believe. Okay, you had Dan on the bike. You had Greta stuff in her face, which they edited the hell out of that because the original version was a lot more gory, but for some reason they cut it. And then the Super Freddy scene. Yeah, so Freddy only caught 3 bodies in the 5th movie. And whereas Dream Master, he caught like 6 bodies. And
see, but some of them are... Huh? Go ahead, what were you saying? No, go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah, I said, Freddy caught 6 bodies in Dream Master, and the only one I didn't like was when he killed Kincaid. Because the brother that survived in the 3rd movie got killed in the 4th movie. But the rest of the kills in 4 was crazy. Joey, the wet dream. Kristen threw her in the lake of fire because I hated the bitch. Sucked the patient. When he sucked the girl dry, you can see her, you know what I'm saying? The
See,
Roach.
that's a standout for sure. The whole asthma one, the sucking her dry. That one definitely stands out. But outside of that, for me, man, like when you said Kincaid, like I like that. For me, it's like that whole sequence where he comes out and he's out there in like the junkyard and Freddy's coming back. But all it really is Freddy looking him in the eyes and just stabbing him in the stomach. And it's like, okay, then the wet dream thing. I was like, all right, Joey's seeing this naked girl under the thing. Freddy jumps out, pulls him under the water. Then when his mom finds him, he's the inside of the water drowned. It's like, okay, cool. But you don't really see anything. Like when you think of like the third movie, for instance, you got the guy like he's like doing like the whole puppet thing with.
Right.
You got like standout kills. You got some generic ones, but you got some standout kills in that movie. Killing the girl with like the "let's get high." You know what I mean? He's got all the needles, and there's these like standout like effects in these moments that Freddy has. And I just feel like in the fourth film, it was just like people getting stabbed, like just generic like stabbed, or like he jumps out, pulls Joey in, he's dead, and then you have like the Roach one in the fourth film that like stands out. And that I guess that those are the ones that I enjoy the most about Friday the 13th is like, or not Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street, are these kills where they use the over the top Freddy powers to make the kill over the top. And I think that's why I liked the kills, even though now you think about it, yeah, there are only 3 kills in that fifth movie, which is kind of a letdown. The movie on its own was a letdown for me, but he goes over the top. He feeds this girl to bloatation. You know what I mean? Like the practical effect of her face all blown out. It's cheesy, but I enjoy that. Or even like Dan, like turning into like this freaking motorcycle guy before he gets demolished. And even the creativeness of it was stupid, but like the creativeness of this whole Super Freddy thing and killing him with the knives when the guy's all paper. It's stupid, but it like stands out. Whereas when I think of the fourth film, it's just a lot of stabbings. It's just a lot of him stabbing somebody in the gut, or like, obviously the one that stands out is the asthma one. But like it felt like they didn't really like stick out. But there are moments that definitely stick out, like when he's out on the beach and he's got the sunglasses. You know what I mean? Like the stuff like that definitely sticks out. But I see Q Reviews right here said that four kills were way better.
I mean, I see your point of view in that. I see your point of view in that, because even though there are only 3 bodies, they did kind of stand out. But tell me you didn't cheer when he took Kristen and threw her in that lake of fire. I applauded, because I hated Kristen's character in that movie.
For sure. No, because like I said earlier, it's the recast. The recasting of Kristen for me was just kind of like the actress was bland. She was not nearly as likable as Patricia Arquette was in that role. And, and then Patricia Arquette was obviously even, she was better on the eyes too. So all of it together, the actress who played Kristen was just kind of like, yeah, when she died, and I was like rewatching, I was like, damn, I forgot that this movie literally spends 30 minutes of its opening just, here's all the characters from the last movie, and you're all dead. We just needed her to give the power to the other girl. It's like, doesn't really make any sense, but do these movies ever make sense, really? Let me see. Where did I put my phone? Oh, I got some more viewer questions that were submitted before. We can get through really quickly because, it's getting a little later now. I know that you said you had a pizza waiting, so I don't want to make you wait too long on your pizza. You still got time?
Huh?
You still got some time?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, the pizza's done. I mean, I just have to reheat it. Just throw it in the air fryer, man, and, good to go.
All right, perfect. So I got a question here from Nerdy Blurb TV. It says, what is the best movie that uses puppets? It doesn't have to be a Muppet movie per se, because even the 90s Ninja Turtles movies are considered puppets. So what would you say is your favorite movie that uses puppets?
Okay. Shit. Well, if the Ninja Turtles are in that category, I gotta say the Ninja Turtles, 1990. Love that movie, man.
Great movie, man.
Yeah, went to see it twice in the movies. I was a big Ninja Turtle fan. It was a big deal. So, let me see. Ninja Turtles, Muppets Take Manhattan. I love that one. Team America. I love Team America.
It's a good one.
If y'all know what that is.
Yeah, for sure. America, fuck yeah.
Off the top of the dome, I gotta say the first Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I would say for me, if I had to say a movie that uses, I would say specifically a puppet that I think just really works even to this day, but puppets in general. Empire Strikes Back, man. That Yoda puppet is just, it still holds up, man. And every single scene with him still works. Like, it's crazy how, like, that you can actually, in a modern age, like even with some of those older movies, you're able to be like, okay, well, the stories of some of the older ones were better, but the effects of the newer ones are better. But what they were able to do with that movie, Empire, on an effects level and on, like puppeteering and story and everything, the Yoda is like a real person in those scenes. Like you don't see a puppet. Like there are moments where like if you really want to get critical, that you can see it's a puppet, and some people will make the argument that they like the prequel Yoda versus the puppet Yoda. But man, Empire Strikes Back Yoda, like that effect still works 100%. You believe he's in those scenes. You don't think about Frank Oz being below him, like kind of like puppeteering him with Mark Hamill there. Like you buy into it. So yeah, I would probably say that Empire Strikes Back is probably my favorite movie with a puppet in it. And we got Q reviews right here saying that the Yoda in Empire is the best puppet of all time, no debate.
I'm not going to argue that at all. Yeah, I forgot about Yoda. That's a good call. Because my daughter's 15, and that movie is from 1980, and we watched it. She said like she thought that was a real thing, like a real character. So,
yeah. No, it still works, man. It still really works. What else we got here? We got Mr. Blue saying, "What is your favorite satire comedy or TV show?"
Satire comedy or TV show? Ooh, oh man, so many of them. Satire comedies. Okay, you got like I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and Airplane, Naked Gun. Like those kind of movies, right?
Yeah, that's what I would assume, because I was thinking like Naked Gun or man, because even things like I would say like probably my favorite, and I would think it's probably two that I would say they're similar but very different. Are Austin Powers, the first Austin Powers, and Undercover Brother. Those are two movies that I feel fit in that category pretty well. Like that are have some.
I got it. Black Dynamite, yes. Black
there
Dynamite. Black Dynamite, yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely a good option too, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have I got one right here. We just talked about this, but I might as well mention it. Q reviews. Why do you hate Nightmare on Elm Street 4? That was the question for me, but we've already talked about that. The review will be out soon. I got Jerry Mosley, video store clerk, saying, "What movie set for 2021 are you most excited for?"
Ooh, well, damn, but a lot of movies got pushed back, like even further than that, right? So I'm not quite sure what's supposed to drop next year, but the one I'm most anticipating is Coming to America 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
What's that?
I was gonna say I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah. So right now, that's my most anticipated for. I mean, I would say Wonder Woman 84, but I don't think that's going to drop till 2022. So yeah, I think Coming to America 2.
I'm going to hope, because Wonder Woman was supposed to come out this month, November. So I'm going to hope that that's not getting pushed back too far. Hopefully it comes out in 2021. Maybe Wonder Woman, I'm looking forward to, even though I'm like ready for these movies to be over already, I'm looking forward to the Fast and the Furious movies, the new one that's coming out. I'm looking forward to the next Top Gun. That's definitely one that I'm up to. Like, you think about these movies that we would have already seen already, like A Quiet Place 2 got pushed back to next year. That's one I really want to see. What's it called? I'm assuming Black Widow is going to be pushed back any day now, if it hasn't been already. Yeah, there's quite a few. There's a lot of movies, especially right now with so many things being pushed back. Let's see.
I'll put Maverick in there too. Definitely, I'm excited for Maverick.
Yeah.
Even though I guess it's not considered a movie, but I'm just like, I can't wait for this to come out. And that's Cobra Kai season 3. Jesus,
yeah.
They've made us wait a whole damn near 2 years, man. Bring back Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I gotta watch that, man. I have been sleeping on that show, and I've heard nothing but good, man. Before it was I made the excuse of like, oh, it's on YouTube, like premium thing. I was like, like maybe I'll get to that eventually. But yeah, it turned out to be it turned out to be this amazing show from everything I've heard, and now it's getting all this critical praise. Like I think on Rotten Tomatoes it has 100% with like a 98% like audience score. Like I think it just goes to show. We got Q reviews here saying Ghostbusters. I'm gonna assume that that's maybe one of your options for puppets, like movies with puppets, maybe.
Okay.
And then Prodigious said that he agrees on the Yoda puppet.
Yeah, definitely. Good call.
All right, let me see. I think I only have a couple more questions here.
Okay.
Who is your? This actually is from Prodigious, who just commented. He goes, who is your favorite movie director or one of your favorite directors?
Scorsese.
Yeah,
Scorsese,
a
Spike
classic
Lee. Yeah, Scorsese, Spike Lee, and Spielberg. Those are my guys.
for sure. Yeah, those are definitely some great go tos, man. I would say for me, I have a soft spot in my heart for George Lucas, but I feel like I'm kind of encompassing George Lucas as like the overseer of Star Wars rather than just like the director. Because at the end of the day, he only directed A New Hope, and then he directed the prequel trilogy, which definitely has its flaws in here and there. But I love those movies. So George Lucas, as an overall as a creator, I just love him. Got a lot of passion for him. But as a director that is in the similar world, Spielberg, there's really has never been a Spielberg movie that I've disliked, even if it's one that's kind of like for me. Like all of his movies just have something for me. Beyond that, probably Tim Burton. Even Tim Burton has had some stinkers in the middle of his career, but man, like when he was strong at the beginning, he was strong. And like one of my favorite movies of all time is Sweeney Todd with Johnny Depp. Love that movie so much. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but amazing movie. And then
I haven't seen Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, I don't. I actually, if I didn't already review it, I would have given that movie to you because that's one I would be curious to check out. It's a musical. It's based on a Broadway play or like a play in general. And I don't know how much you're into musicals, but it's about this man who was falsely imprisoned because the judge, this judge, sees his wife and like fell in love with Johnny Depp's character's wife, and so he falsely imprisons him. He ends up getting out of prison. And comes back under the alias of Sweeney Todd, and he tries to uncover like where his wife is, and they had a kid. He's trying to find where the kid is and trying to get revenge on this judge. And it's just like this really over the top, very theatrical musical. Johnny Depp is great in it. I got like Alan Rickman and Sacha Baron Cohen, Helena Bonham Carter, and great songs. But there's a lot of blood. It's like very over the top, dude. Because he's a barber. That's the big thing. I should say he's a barber. So the big thing is that he gets people and he like slices their throat while he's giving them a shave. But you should check it out. It's pretty good. It's on Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken. And then I see here that Q Reviews actually said Ghostbusters 2021 is the movie that he's looking forward to for 2021.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot. The remake. Okay.
I forgot about that. I think it's supposed to be a follow-up, if I'm not mistaken. Like a follow-up.
Yes, it's a sequel. Yeah.
Let me see here. I got one last question that was submitted, and it's from my buddy Robert, the Big Rob Theory. He says, "What do you think Disney should pull from the Star Wars lore and bring it to the big screen, taking out of the notion that certain things have been discontinued as canon and all that?" So just to follow that up. Anybody who doesn't know, when Disney purchased Lucasfilm, any books or comic books that had come out before Disney bought Lucasfilm are now considered legends. It's what all the books reprints, they say legends at the top, and it's kind of viewed as alternate universe. It's no longer looked as canon. And so tons of storylines and characters and all this stuff was just kind of thrown to the wind. And I understood it because for me, it was like, okay, well, they're going to make new movies. There's no way that they can make The Force Awakens and try to jump into that story that far into the future without having to just spoon speed the audience like a shit ton of information, because like Luke gets married to Mara Jade Skywalker in the books and has kids, and Luke and Han and Leia have 3 kids, and one of them falls to the dark side, one of them is the light side. Like there's all this stuff. Leia becomes a Jedi, Chewbacca dies. There's like just so much lore. And so it made sense to me that Disney and Lucasfilm would be like, if we're going to do this with making more movies and TV, we're going to have to kind of start over with what we already have on film and like the Clone Wars, and kind of build new shows and movies around a very cohesive universe that connects to the books and stuff. And that's what we're seeing with like The Mandalorian. I was talking to you guys. I won't get into any spoilers for anybody who has not seen the newest episode, but there's a character that appears in the first episode of the new season that is from the books. And he's played by Timothy Oliphant. And for me, that was like, I knew exactly when they were like on Tatooine and things were happening and they were kind of hinting at who they were going to be, like that there was this marshal, this sheriff character. I knew exactly who they were talking about. I knew that's exactly what it was going to be. And when they said his name, I like stopped for a second and I was genuinely shocked that they brought this character from a book that came out years ago at this point, and they just kind of and it was just like, for me, like to be able to have that connective tissue was amazing. And we saw it with Star Wars Rebels as well. One of the most iconic characters from the old books and comics is a character named Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's an Imperial, like he's essentially like an Imperial, like Sherlock Holmes. He's like this guy that like he's almost too good. He'd show up into a room and nobody would be able to figure out where the rebels went or what they did, and he'd be like, "Oh, well, they did this because of this." It's like kind of like, you know, when Sherlock Holmes walks into a room and he can just analyze everything and he just like figures out where everything was, why somebody stepped there, and that they're going this way. He's the same way, but he works for the Empire. Great character, and they resurrected him for Star Wars Rebels. And I absolutely love that they did that. So his character is canon again. They've done new books and comics around him. So this is a very long-winded response to say that I love that they're doing that. But I would love to see them do that with, you know, characters like Darth Bane or characters like Darth Revan. So some of these characters from the old Republic era that have been scrapped that I feel would be cool. What about you, man? Is there anything that you know about Star Wars in that sense that you would like to see brought to the movies?
Well, if I could take a stab in the dark here, I take it you're a Star Wars fan, huh?
Just a little bit, bro.
You know, I'm not really familiar. I did read the first, was it the Shadow? Not Shadows of the Empire. Well, the books with Thrawn in there. I read one of them.
Yeah, Shadows of the Empire. Yeah.
Shadows of the Empire. Okay, I did read the first book. I know there was a series of them, but I just read the first one. Yeah, so I know about Han and Leia having Jedi twins and all that stuff there. But I'm not really familiar with the source material outside of the movies. Really, you know what I'm saying? So I really have nothing to add to that. You know, I just look as just I guess I consider myself a casual fan because I love the movies, but I'm not really familiar with the other stuff. I just want to see some new, fresh stories of Star Wars, of a galaxy far, far away. Okay, the Skywalker saga is done with, it's over with now. You know, let's get some new shit. And that's why I'm loving The Mandalorian, because even though it still takes place within the Skywalker saga, but it's bringing something new and fresh with a whole bunch of Easter eggs to make you bust nerdgasms till you dry. You know what I mean? So I'm just loving The Mandalorian right now.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. It gives you that sense of some like familiarity. If you're like a fan of Star Wars, you get to see these things and these places that you're familiar with, while also just being able to just give you something new, you know, something completely fresh. And on top of that, man, the visual effects, man, like I was blown away with this first episode of The Mandalorian, man, of the second season, because the visual effects, not only the practical effects, but there are moments, man, in that third act, like big action sequence where, like, you know, like I said, I don't want to touch on spoilers, but like there's, you know, you can imagine there's Mandalorian's got a jetpack. Like there's moments where he's flying around the jetpack and there's like a scene specifically where he landed and there's stuff going on behind him. There's all this, you know, CGI and like he's real and it all just looks seamless, man. And like what they've been able to do with this show on a visual level while also doing all this connective tissue to other stuff while also telling its own story is great, man. Just be able to see that character I was mentioning is amazing. We were talking about Rosario Dawson earlier. She's, you know, it's almost essentially confirmed that she's going to be in this season as Ahsoka Tano from the Clone Wars and Rebels, which still has me a little bit low-key nervous. A lot of people are in support of it. I'm only nervous about it because I struggle with having like really famous faces in Star Wars. Like, I like when Star Wars has like you know, like there's been famous people, but like the original trilogy like made Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, you know, Harrison Ford. The prequel trilogy, Ewan McGregor was already like an established actor, you know what I mean? But he wasn't like who Ewan McGregor is now. Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, like they became bigger actors. Maybe not so much Hayden Christensen, but like they all became bigger faces and bigger names that people knew about because of those movies. Yeah, I would say like with the new trilogy, the only one who really stands out as like one that's like a bigger actor already was you know, the guy who played Poe, Oscar Isaac. But like even then, he became bigger as Star Wars was happening. Same with John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, and you know, we've had people like Samuel L. Jackson who was in The Phantom Menace but he wasn't like, he was already big because of Pulp Fiction, but he wasn't like Samuel L. Jackson today big when he did Star Wars. And so like when Rogue One came out and they said Forrest Whitaker was going to be in it, who plays a character from the Clone Wars, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, because like I don't really care to ever see like Tom Cruise or The Rock or like, you know, I don't want to see like Robert Downey Jr. as a Jedi. Like, he's a great actor. I just don't. I like when Star Wars has these more obscure faces. I don't know, because it kind of makes me forget that they're movies in a way, like to an extent. Because like, you know, you got Carl Weathers in The Mandalorian, and he's obviously a big face, but at the same time, it's different. I don't know. It's like it's a weird thing for me. So I'm curious to see how Rosario Dawson is thrown in there as Ahsoka. Plus the voice. I'm so stuck to Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka. So to have this new person coming in that doesn't really sound anything like her, I'm definitely curious to see how they do that.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, and I think that was Lucas's goal when he made the first Star Wars. He wanted fresh faces that nobody's ever seen before, and that's what the appeal of it was when you saw these characters. You saw those characters. You didn't see, like you said, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford. So I know exactly what you're talking about, because even watching The Mandalorian, when I see Carl Weathers, I see that's Apollo Creed. Yes,
Yeah.
you're The Mandalorian. You're in Star Wars land now, but dude, you're Apollo. All right, you beat the shit out of Rocky for 2 movies. That's how I see you. And then Giancarlo Esposito, you know, the character he's playing, I see Gustavo Fring. No matter what I see, then I always see Gus Fring. You know, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's like there's these actors that they can't, like, it's when they become so big, it's like you want to have these like incredibly prestigious actors in Star Wars, because, you know, you're getting good actors. And there's been plenty of big actors that have appeared. You know, Liam Neeson was already larger when he did Star Wars, but again, he wasn't like taken Liam Neeson. He was, you know, he was popular. He was established, but he, you know, it's just this it's kind of like this back and forth kind of thing with me. Like, I end up really loving the actors once they appear in the movies. So I always go in with a positive mentality. So if Rosario Dawson is in this season and she is playing Ahsoka, I'm going in with an open mind. Plus, at the end of the day, I trust Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy and all these people who are part of making sure that this all flows cohesively. And for me, it's like, all right, like if they saw her in the makeup, if they saw her in rehearsals, and they felt it was good enough to put in the show, they haven't disappointed me yet. So I just feel like, all right, there's no reason to worry that it's possibly going to be ass, you know?
Yeah, don't trip, man. Sometimes you never know how these things are going to work. You know, rewind back to 1989, where they announced that Michael Keaton was going to play Batman. I said, Mr. Mom, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I said, man, hell no, Michael Keaton is Batman? Man, you tripping. And I watched the movie. I said, holy shit, I was wrong. You know, when they cast Heath Ledger as the Joker, I said, 10 Things I Hate About You, Knight's Tale, get the fuck out of here. To this day, he's still the Joker to me. He's the best Joker ever did it, man. So you just never know.
Yeah, no, it's wild, bro. It's this crazy thing. You just gotta trust. That's why I never really freak out when I see casting news or anything like that, because I'm just like, at the end of the day, I'm trusting the casting department, you know. And that, speaking of like the Joker, for instance, when I heard that Jared Leto was going to be the Joker for Suicide Squad, I remember being pretty hyped about that, because I really like Jared Leto as an actor. Like, sometimes his movies aren't the best on like a writing level, but I really like him as an actor. So I thought to myself, oh, he's going to do a great job. Then you start hearing all this stuff about him really committing to the role, to this next level. He's doing all this crazy, creepy stuff. He's doing like this method acting, staying in the role. And then they cut out half of the scenes that he's in the movie. And he wasn't what people expected he was going to be. And he got a lot of shit for it. But now they announced that he's going to be in Zack Snyder's The Snyder Cut of the Justice League, which is interesting. So hopefully this will be an opportunity for him to kind of show us another side to the character he was trying to bring to screen, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely will. Yeah, we definitely need to avoid the Snyder Cut, because that shit's caused so much division. Also, that's been like a big deal on YouTube, man, where people were. Yeah, it got ugly, man. So I'm gonna keep the Snyder Cut out my mouth. I ain't got nothing to say about it.
I don't blame you, bro. But
that shit.
People, honestly, it's crazy, man. And honestly, I never thought it was going to happen. I thought that was just going to be people going to be talking about this forever, and we're going to move on like The Last Jedi. But no, yeah, it's actually happening, which is mind-blowing to me, bro. But hey, man.
I'm curious to watch it because I'm in the minority of people that actually someone enjoyed Justice League. It's not, to me, it's not as bad as people say it was. I kind of had a good time with it. I mean, you could tell that they cut a lot of stuff out of that. It almost felt like, two different people made the movie. You could see it, and then the digital mustache and shit that was edited out. But I had fun with it for what it was. It was a decent time to me. So yeah, I'm curious about Justice League. It's not a cut.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I like the movie. Like for me, it kind of felt like if you're even a casual fan of this kind of stuff, like if you know the basic gist of all these characters, you're able to fill those holes that the movie has, like in your head. You know where the characters come from. You know what it reminded me of? I said it in my review for it. It reminded me kind of like a lot of the animated Disney, a lot of the animated DC movies that they make, where like they just throw you into the action. They don't sit here and re-explain the characters. They're like, if you're watching one of these DC animated movies, you know who they are. Here's a story. Let's jump right into it. So it kind of felt like one of those to me, where there's things that are a little underexplained or stuff like that. But yeah, the one thing that I think is a bigger bummer about that movie is that it's right under an hour and a half. Like it's like an hour and 29 minutes, and for a Justice League movie, just way too short, So to know that we're gonna have this 4-hour epic, whatever this is not even gonna be like the Snyder cut. This is a whole nother thing. Like there's no way that this movie is even gonna resemble anything what we saw a few years ago.
Yeah. And I ain't gonna say nothing more on it.
All right, bro. Well, we have been at it for a little bit now. It's been over 2 hours, bro. Thank you so much for joining me. We got no more comments, no more questions. A big thanks to everybody who stuck around. And if you're watching this after the fact, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun for sure. I'm going to wrap it up now. But anything you want to say, man? Anything you're working on you want to let the audience know about?
Let's see. Not really. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. This was fun to do. 2 hours. Didn't feel like 2 hours. My stomach should be grumbling and freaking out right now, but I'm loving doing this, so I'm not really bothered. I have a couple of reviews coming up. I'm going to be reviewing a movie called Spell with the Mari Hardwick. I think that's how you say his name. And I'm going to be reviewing the new Busta Rhymes album, so make sure you go to the channel, check those out. I should be having those out tomorrow and Tuesday. So that's Spell and Busta Rhymes Extinction Level Event Part 2.
Sounds good, bro. Well, for sure, I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for those. You guys can look out for many reviews coming. My next review will be for the Return to Halloween Town with Rashad G review. So that review will be up very, very shortly. A big thanks to you guys for watching. You guys can find the link to Rashad's channel down below in the description box. It's already in there. So go give him some love. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for being a part of the first episode of Random Rambling. Later, y'all.
Appreciate you, fam.